Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Rainbow Shakespeare Online. It is a beautiful evening and High Down would have been wonderful, but it couldn't be this year. So we're trying something very new tonight, and it's an experiment. It may go horribly wrong, but we have a very talented team of people to bring Romeo and Juliet to your screens. It's not theatre in the sense that we understand it. It's not film, it's not television, but it's a totally new art form. And so, Romeo and Juliet. If you go to our website, rainbow-theatre.com, you'll find a link through to our GoFundMe page if you would like to contribute towards what we hope will be a very successful season next year. So without more ado, oh, that's tomorrow. Without much ado, we go to Romeo and Juliet, the great love story of all time. I will guide you through it, sometimes to explain who people are, and the characters will have their names at the bottom of the screen so that you can follow what's going on. Meanwhile, just enjoy it. It's an exciting play, a funny play, a tragic play. Shakespeare at his very best. So welcome to Romeo and Juliet. We're in Verona. It's a hot afternoon and the Capulets and Montagues, as usual, are looking for a fight. But first of all, we meet the prologue.
Two households, both alike in dignity. In fair Verona we lay our scene, from ancient grudge break to new mutiny, where civil blood makes civil hands unclean. From forth the fatal loins of these two foes, a pair of star-crossed lovers take their life, whose misadventures piteous overthrows do with their death bury their parents' strife. The fearful passage of their death-marked love and the continuance of their parents' rage, which but their children's end naught could remove, is now the 2 hours' traffic of our stage, the which if you with patient ears attend, what here shall miss, our toil shall strive to mend.
A public place in Verona, enter two servants of the house of Capulet, Samson and Gregory.
Draw thy tool. Here comes two of the house of the Montague.
My naked weapon is out. Quarrel, I will back thee.
How? Turn your back on me?
Fear not.
No, Mary, I fear thee.
Let us take the law on our side. Let them begin.
I will frown as I pass, and let them take it as they list.
Nay, nay, as they dare. I will bite my thumb at them, which is a disgrace to them if they bear it.
Enter two of the house of Montague, Abraham and Balthazar.
Do you bite your thumb at us, sir?
I do bite my thumb, sir.
But do you bite your thumb at us, sir?
Is the law on our side if I say I?
No, no.
Oh, no, no, sir. I do not bite my thumb at you, sir, but I bite my thumb, sir.
Do you quarrel?
Quarrel, sir? No, sir.
If you do, I am for you. I serve as good a man as you.
No, better?
Well, sir.
Say better. Here comes one of my master's kinsmen.
Yes, better, sir.
You lie!
Draw if you be men. Gregory, remember thy swashing blow.
They fight, and in the middle of this fight, Benvolio enters.
Art fools, put up your sword, you know not what you do.
And at that moment, Tybalt of the house of Capulet enters as Benvolio is trying to beat down their swords.
What?
Art thou drawn among these heartless hinds? Turn thee, Benvolio, look upon thy death.
Do but keep the peace. Put up thy sword, or manage it to part these men with me.
What? Drawn and talk of peace? I hate the word, as I hate hell. All Montagues, and thee. Have at thee, coward!
They fight, enter several of both houses who join the fray.
Club, bills and partisans, strike, beat them down, down with the Capulets, down with the Montagues.
Enter Capulet in his gown and Lady Capulet.
What noise is this? Give me my long sword, ho!
A crutch, a crutch. Why call you for a sword?
My sword, I say. Old Montague has come and flourishes his blade in spite of me.
Enter Montague and Lady Montague.
Thou villain, Capulet, hold me not, let me go.
Thou shalt not stir a foot to seek a foe.
And now the prince enters with his attendants.
Rebellious subjects, enemies to peace, profaners of this neighbour-stained steel, will they not hear? What ho, you men, you beasts, that quench the fire of your pernicious rage with purple fountains issuing from your veins. On pain of torture, from those bloody hands, throw your mistempered weapons to the ground, and hear the sentence of your moved prince. 3 civil brawls, bred of an airy word, by thee, old Capulet and Montague, hath thrice disturbed the quiet of our streets. If ever you disturb our streets again, your lives shall pay the forfeit of the peace. For this time, all the rest depart away. You, Capulet, go along with me. And Montague, come you this afternoon to know our further pleasure in this case, to Old Freetown, our common judgment place. What's more, on pain of death, all men depart.
They exit, all apart from Montague, Lady Montague, and Benvolio.
Who set this ancient quarrel new abroach? Speak, nephew. Were you by when it began?
Here were the servants of your adversary and yours, close fighting ere I did approach. I drew to part them. In the instant came the fiery Tybalt with his sword prepared, which as he breathed defiance to my ears, he swung about his head and cut the winds, who nothing hurt, and withal hiss him in scorn. While we were interchanging thrusts and blows, came more and fought on part and part, till the prince came, who parted either part.
Oh, where is Romeo? Saw you him today? Right glad I am that he was not at this fray.
Madam, an hour before your worship's son peered forth the golden window of the east, a troubled mind drave me to walk abroad, where underneath the grove of sycamore that westward rooteth from the city's side, so early walking did I see your son. Towards him I made, but he was ware of me, and stole into the covert of the woods. I, measuring his affection by my own, that most are busied when they are most alone, pursued my humour, not pursuing his, and gladly shunned, who gladly fled from me.
Many a morning hath he there been seen with tears, augmenting the fresh morning dew, adding to clouds more clouds with his deep sighs. Black and portentous must this humour prove, unless good counsel may the cause remove.
My noble uncle, do you know the cause?
I neither know it, nor can learn of him.
Have you importuned him by any means?
Both by myself and many other friends, but he, his own affection's counsellor, is to himself, I will not say how true, but to himself so secret, and so close, so far from sounding and discovery. Could we but learn from whence his sorrows grow, we would as willingly give cure as know.
At this point, Romeo enters.
Oh, see where he comes. So please you step aside. I'll know his grievance or be much denied.
Montague and Lady Montague's exit.
Yes, I would thou wert so happy by thy stay to hear true shrift. Come, madam, let's away.
Good morrow, cousin.
Day so young.
But new struck 9.
Ay me, sad hours seem long. Was that my father that went hence?
Oh, it was. What sadness lengthens Romeo's hours?
Not having that, which having makes them short.
In love.
Out.
Of love.
Out of her favour, where I am in love.
Alas, that love so gentle in his view should be so tyrannous and rough in proof.
Alas, that love, whose view is muffled still, should without eyes see pathways to his will. Where shall we dine? Oh, me, what a free was here. Yet tell me not, for I have heard it all. He has much to do with hate, but more with love. Why then, oh brawling love, oh loving hate, oh anything of nothing first create. Oh, heavy lightness, serious vanity, misshapen chaos of well-seeming forms, feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health, still waking sleep that is not what it is. This love feel I that feel no love in this. Dost thou not laugh?
No, cause I'd rather weep.
Good-hearted what?
At thy own good heart's oppression.
Why, such is love's transgression. Griefs of mine own lie heavy in my breast, which thou wilt propagate, to have it pressed with more of thine. This love that thou hast showed doth add more grief to too much of mine own. Love is smoke raised from the fume of sighs, being purged, a fire sparkling in lovers' eyes, being vexed, a sea nourished with lovers' tears. What is it else? A madness most discreet, a choking gall and a preserving sweet. Farewell, my cousin.
Soft, I will go along, and if you leave me so, you do me wrong.
Tut, I have lost myself. I am not here. This is not Romeo, he's some other where.
Tell me in sadness, who is that you love?
What, shall I groan and tell thee?
Groan, why no, but sadly tell me who.
Bid a sick man in sadness make his will. Oh, a word ill urged, do that one so ill. In sadness, cousin, I do love a woman.
I aim so near, and I supposed you loved.
A right good markman, and she's fair I love.
A right fair mark, fair cuz, is soonest hit.
Well, in that hit you miss. She'll not be hit with Cupid's arrow. She hath Dian's wit, and in strong proof of chastity well armed, from love's weak childish bow she lives unharmed. She will not stay the siege of loving terms, nor bide the encounter of assailing eyes, nor ope her lap to saint seducing gold. Oh, she is rich in beauty, only poor, that when she dies, with beauty dies her store.
Then she has sworn that she will live chaste?
She hath, and in that sparing makes huge waste. For beauty starved with her severity cuts beauty off from all prosperity. She is too fair, too wise, wisely too fair, to merit bliss by making me despair. She hath forsworn to love, and in that vow do I live dead that live to tell it now.
Be ruled by me, forget to think of her.
Oh, teach me how I should forget to think.
By giving liberty unto thine eyes, examine other beauties.
'Tis the way to call her exquisite in question more. Show me a mistress that is passing fair. What doth her beauty serve but as a note where I may read who passed that passing fair? Farewell, thou canst not teach me to forget.
I'll pay that doctrine or else die in debt.
And off they go. Another street, we meet Capulet, Paris, and a servant.
But Montague is bound as well as I in penalty alike, and 'tis not hard, I think, for men so old as we to keep the peace.
Of honourable reckoning are you both, and pity 'tis you live at odds so long. But now, my lord, what say you to my suit?
By saying o'er what I have said before. My child is yet a stranger in the world. She hath not seen the change of 14 years. Let 2 more summers wither in their pride, ere we may think her ripe to be a bride.
Young and as she are happy mothers made.
And too soon marred are those so early made. The earth hath swallowed all my hopes, but she is the hopeful lady of my earth. But woo her, gentle Paris, get her heart. My will to her consent is but a part, and she agree within her scope of choice, lies my consent and fair according voice. This night I hold an old accustomed feast, whereto I have invited many a guest such as I love. And you, among the store, one more most welcome makes my number more. At my poor house look to behold this night earth-treading stars that make dark heaven light. Such comfort as do lusty young men feel when well-apparelled April on the heel of limping winter treads. Even such delight among fresh female buds shall you this night inherit at my house. Hear all see, and like her most whose merit most shall be, which on more view of many mind being one, may stand in number though in reckoning none. Come, go with me.
He gives a paper to the
servant. Go, Sirrah, trudge about through fair Verona, find those persons out whose names are written there, and to them say, my house and welcome on their pleasure stay.
Capulet and Paris leave.
Find them out whose names are written here. It is written that the shoemaker should meddle with his yard, and the tailor with his last, the fisher with his pencil, and the painter with his nets. But I am sent to find those persons whose names are here. Writ, and can never find what the names the written person have writ. I must to the learned in good time.
Benvolio and Romeo enter.
Tut man, one fire burns out another's burning, one pain is lessened by another's anguish, turn giddy and be holped by backward turning, one desperate grief cures with another's languish. Take thou some new infection to the eye, and the rank poison of the old will die.
Your plantain leaf is excellent for that.
What, I pray thee?
For your broken shin.
Why, Romeo, art thou mad?
Not mad, but bound more than a madman is. Shut up in prison, kept without food, whipped and tormented, and... God den, good fellow.
God gee, God den, good fellow. I pray, sir, can you read?
Mine own fortune is in my misery.
Perhaps you have learned it without book, but I pray, can you read anything you see?
Aye, if I know the letters and the language.
Ye say honestly, rest you merry.
Stay, fellow, I can read. Signor Martino and his wives and daughters, County Anselm and his beauteous sisters, the lady was a widow of Vitravio, Signor Placentio and his lovely nieces, Mercutio and his brother Valentine, mine uncle Capulet, his wife and daughters, my fair niece Rosaline, Livia, Signor Valentio, and his cousin Tybalt, Lucio, and the lively Helena. A fair assembly. Whither should they come?
Up.
Whither?
To supper, to our house.
Whose house?
My master's.
Indeed, I should have asked you that before.
Now I'll tell you without asking. My master is the great rich Capulet, and if you be not of the house of Montagues, I pray, come and crush a cup of wine. Rest you merry.
And off he goes.
At this same ancient feast of Capulet sups the fair Rosalind, with whom you so lovest, within all the admired beauties of Verona. Go thither, and with unattained eye compare her face with some I shall show, and I will make thee think thy swan a crow.
When the devout religion of mine eyes maintains such falsehood, then turn tears to fires, and these, who often drowned, could never die transparent heretics, be burnt for liars. One fairer than my love, the all-seeing sun ne'er saw her match since the world first begun.
You saw her fair, none else being by, herself poised with herself in either eye, but in crystal scales let there be weighed your lady's love against some other maid that I will show you shining at this feast, and she shall scant show well that now shows best.
I'll go along. No such sight to be shown, but to rejoice in splendor of mine own.
Meanwhile, back at the Capulets' house, they're preparing for the ball. Enter Lady Capulet and Juliet's nurse.
Nurse, where's my daughter? Call her forth to me.
Now, by my maidenhead, at 12-year-old, I bade her come. What lamb? What ladybird? God forbid, where's this girl? What Juliet?
How now, who calls?
Your mother.
Madam, I am here. What is your will?
This is the matter. Nurse, give leave a while. We must talk in secret. Nurse, come back again. I have remembered me. Thou hears our counsel. Thou knowest my daughter of a pretty age.
Faith, I can tell her age unto an hour.
She's not 14.
I lay 14 of my teeth, and yet to my teeth be it spoken, I have but 4. She is not 14. How long is it now to Lammastide?
A fortnight and odd days.
Even or odd of all the days in the year, come Lammas Eve at night shall she be 14. Susan and she, God rest all Christian souls, were of an age. Well, Susan is with God. She was too good for me. But as I said, on Lammas Eve at night shall she be 14. That shall she, Mary. I remember it well. 'Tis since the earthquake now 11 years. And she was weaned, I never shall forget it, of all the days of the year upon that day. For I had then laid wormwood to my dug, sitting in the sun under the dove-house wall. My lord and you were then at Mantua. Nay, I do bear a brain. But as I said, when it did taste the wormwood on the nipple of my dug, and felt it bitter, pretty fool, to see it tetchy and fall out with the dug. Oh, shake, quoth the dove-house. 'Twas no need, I trow, to bid me trudge. And since that time it is 11 years. For then she could stand alone. Nay, by the rood, she could have run and waddled all about. For even the day before she broke her brow, and then my husband, God be with his soul, who was a merry man, took up the child. Yea, quoth he, dost thou fall upon thy face? Thou wilt fall backward when thou hast more wit. Wilt thou not, Jewel? And by my holiday, the pretty wretch left crying and said, "I, oh, to see now how a jest shall come about. I warrant, and I should live 1,000 years, I never should forget it. Wilt thou not, Jewel?" quoth he. And pretty fool it stinted and said, "I."
Enough of this. I pray thee, hold thy peace.
Yes, madam, yet I cannot choose but laugh to think it should leave crying and say I. And yet I warrant it had upon its brow a bump as big as a cockerel stone, a parlous knock, and it cried bitterly. Yea, quoth my husband, fallest upon thy face. Thou wilt fall backward when thou comest to age, wilt thou not, Jewel? It stinted and said I.
And stint thou too, I pray thee, nurse, say I.
Peace I have done. God mark thee to his grace. Thou wast the prettiest babe that e'er I nursed. And I might live to see thee married once, I have my wish.
Marry, that marry is the very theme I came to talk of. Tell me, Juliet, daughter Juliet, how stands your disposition to be married?
It is an honour that I dream not of.
An honour? Were not I thine only nurse, I would say thou had sucked wisdom from thy tea.
Well, think of marriage now. Younger than you, here in Verona, ladies of esteem are made already mothers. By my count, I was your mother much upon these years that you are now a maid. Thus then, in brief, the valiant Paris seeks you for his love.
A man, young lady, such a man as all the world. Why, he's made of wax.
Verona's summer hath not lost such a flower.
Nay, he's a flower, in faith a very flower.
What say you? Can you love the gentleman? This night you shall behold him at our feast. Read o'er the volume of young Paris's face and find delight writ there with beauty's pen. Examine every married lineament and see how one another lends content, and what obscured in this fair volume lies find written in the margent of his eyes. This precious book of love, this unbound lover, to beautify him only lacks a cover. The fish lives in the seas, and 'tis much pride for fair without the fair within to hide. That book in many's eyes doth share the glory that in gold clasps locks in the golden story. So shall you all that he doth possess, by having him, making yourself no less.
No less, nay, bigger. Women grow by men.
Speak briefly. Can you like of Paris's love?
Our looked alike, if looking liking move, but no more deep will I endart mine eye than your consent gives strength to make it fly.
Servant comes in.
Madam, the guests are come, supper served up. You called my young lady, asked for, the nurse cursed in the pantry, and everything in extremity. I must hence to wait, I beseech you follow straight.
We follow thee. Juliet, the county stays.
Go, girl, seek happy nights to happy days.
A street at night in Verona, enter Romeo, Mercutio, Benvolio, and many maskers.
What shall this speech be spoke for our excuse? Or shall we on without an apology?
The date is out of such prolixity. We'll have no Cupid hoodwinked with a scarf, bearing a tartar painted bowl of lath, scaring the ladies like a crow keeper. Nor, no, without book prologue fairly spoke after the prompter for our entrance. But let them measure us by what they will. We'll measure them a measure and be gone.
Give me a torch. I am not for this ambling. Being but heavy, I will bear the light.
Nay, gentle Romeo, we must have you dance.
Not I, believe me. You have dancing shoes with nimble soles. I have a soul of lead. It so stakes me to the ground, I cannot move.
You are a lover. Borrow Cupid's wings and soar with them above a common bound.
I am too sore impierced with his shaft to soar with his light feathers. And so bound, I cannot bound a pitch above doe wall. Under love's heavy burden do I sink.
And to sink in it should you burden love, too great oppression for a tender thing.
Is love a tender thing? It is too rough, too rude, too boisterous, and it pricks like thorn.
If love be rough with you, be rough with love. Prick love for pricking, and you beat love down. Give me a case to put my visage in. A visor for a visor. What care I, what curious eye doth quote deformities? Here the beetle brow shall blush for me.
Come, knock and enter, and no sooner in, but every man betake him to his legs.
A torch for me. Let wantons light of heart tickle the senseless rushes with their heels. For I am provoked with a grandsire face. I'll be a candle holder and look on. The game was ne'er so fair, and I am done.
Come, we burn daylight, ho!
Nay, that's not so.
I mean, sir, in delay. We waste our lights in vain, like lamps by day. Take our good meaning, for our judgment sits 5 times in that ere once in our 5 wits.
And we mean well in going to this mask, but 'tis no wit to go.
Why, may one ask?
I dreamed a dream tonight.
And so did I.
Well, what was yours?
That dreamers often lie.
In bed, asleep, where they do dream things true.
Oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairies' midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomies over men's noses as they lie asleep. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut, made by the joiner squirrel or old grub, time out of mind the fairies' coachmakers. Her wagon spokes made of long spiders' legs, the cover of the wings of grasshoppers, the traces of the smallest spider's web, the collars of the moonshine's watery beams, her whip of cricket's bone, the lash of film, her wagoner a small grey-coated gnat, not so big as a round little worm pricked from the lazy finger of a maid. And in this state she gallops night by night through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. Or courtiers' knees that dream on curtsies straight. o'er lawyers' fingers who straight dream on fees, o'er ladies' lips who straight on kisses dream, which oft the angry Mab with blisters plagues, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted are. Sometimes she gallops o'er a courtier's nose, and then dreams he of smelling out a suit. And sometime comes she with a tithe pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose as he lies asleep. Then dreams he of another benefice. Sometime she driveth o'er a soldier's neck, and then he dreams of cutting foreign throats, of breaches, ambuscados, of Spanish blides, of hell's 5 fathom deep. And then anon drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and being thus frighted, swears a prayer or two and sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elf locks in foul sluttish hairs, which once untangled much misfortune bodes. This is the hag, when maids lie on their backs, that presses them and learns them first to bear, making them women of good carriage. This is she.
Peace,
who...
peace, Mercutio, peace. Thou talk'st of nothing.
True. I talk of dreams, which are the children of an idle brain, begot of nothing but vain fantasy, which is as thin of substance as the air, and more inconstant than the wind, who woos even now the frozen bosom of the north, and being angered, puffs away from thence, turning his face to the dew dropping south.
This wind you talk of blows us from ourselves. Supper is done, and we shall come too late.
I fear too early, for my mind misgives. Some consequence yet hanging in the stars shall bitterly begin his fearful date with this night's revels, and expire the term of a despised life closed in my breast by some vile forfeit of untimely death. But he that hath the steerage of my course, direct my sail. On, lusty gentlemen.
Strike, drum!
Off they go to the ball. We're now in the Capulet's house. Musicians.
Welcome, gentlemen.
Juliet and...
Welcome. Ladies that have their toes unplagued with corns will have a bout with you. Aha, my mistresses! Which of you all will now desire to dance? She that makes dainty she, I'll swear hath corns. Am I come needy now? Welcome, gentlemen. I have seen the day that I have worn a visor, and could tell a whispering tale in a fair lady's ear, such as would please. 'Tis gone, 'tis gone, 'tis gone. You are welcome, gentlemen. Come, musicians, play. Aho, aho, give room and foot it goes.
A dance takes place.
More light, you knaves, and turn the tables up and quench the fire. Oh, the room is grown too hot. Ah, sirrah, this unlooked-for sport comes well. Nay, sit, good cousin Capulet, for you and I are past our dancing days. How long is it now since last yourself and I were in a mask?
Oh, the lady, 30 years.
What, man? 'Tis not so much, 'tis not so much. 'Tis since the nuptials of Lucentio. Come Pentecost as quickly as it will, some 25 years, and then we masked.
'Tis more, 'tis more. His son is elder, sir. His son is 30.
Will you tell me that? His son was but a ward 2 years ago.
What lady is that which doth enrich the hand of yonder knight?
I know not, sir.
Oh, she doth teach the torches to burn bright. It seems she hangs upon the cheek of night like a rich jewel in an Ethiop's ear. Beauty too rich for use, for earth too dear. So shows a snowy dove trooping with crows, as yonder lady o'er her fellows shows. The measure done, I'll watch her place of stand, and touching hers, make blessed my rude hand. Did my heart love till now? Forswear its sight, for ne'er saw true beauty till this night.
Tybalt recognizes Romeo's voice.
This by his voice should be a Montague, Fetch me my rapier, boy. What dares the slave come hither covered with an antic face to fleer and scorn at our solemnity? Now, by the stock and honour of my kin, to strike him dead I hold it not a sin.
Why, how now, kinsman? Wherefore storm you, sir?
Uncle, this is a Montague, our foe, a villain that is hither come in spite, to scorn at our solemnity this night.
Young Romeo, is it?
'Tis he, that villain Romeo.
Oh, content thee, gentle coz, let him alone. He bears him like a portly gentleman, and to say truth, Verona brags of him to be a virtuous and well-governed youth. I would not for the wealth of all the town here in my house do him disparagement. Therefore be patient, take no note of him. It is my will the which if thou respect, show a fair presence and put off these frowns, an ill-beseeming semblance for a feast.
It fits when such a villain is a guest. I'll not endure him.
He shall be endured. What, goodman boy? I say he shall. Go to. Am I the master here, or you? Go to. You'll not endure him. God shall mend my soul. You'll make a mutiny among my guests. You'll set cock-a-hoop. You'll be the man.
Why, uncle, 'tis a shame.
Go to, go to. You are a saucy boy. Is so indeed. Oh, this trick may chance to scathe you. I know what, you must contrary me. Marry, 'tis time. Well said, my hearts. You are a princox. Go. Be quiet, or more light, more light. For shame. I'll make you quiet. What cheerly, my hearts.
Patience perforce, with wilful choler meeting, makes my flesh tremble in their different greeting. I will withdraw, but this intrusion shall, now seeming sweet, convert to bitter gall.
He exits, and Romeo approaches Juliet.
If I profane with unworthiest hand this holy shrine, the gentle fine as this, my lips, two blushing pilgrims, ready stand to smooth that rough touch with a tender kiss.
Good pilgrim, you do wrong your hand too much, which manly devotion shows in this. For saints have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch, and palm to palm is holy palmer's kiss.
Have not saints lips and holy palmers too?
Aye, pilgrim, lips that they must use in prayer.
Oh, then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray, grant thou, lest faith turn to despair.
Saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake.
Then move not while my prayer's effect I take. Thus from my lips by yours my sin is purged.
Then have my lips the sin that they have took.
Sin from thy lips? O trespass sweetly urged, give me my sin again.
You kiss by the book.
Madam, your mother craves a word with you.
What is her mother?
Marry, bachelor, her mother is the lady of the house, and a good lady, and a wise and virtuous. I nursed her daughter that you talked withal. I tell you, he that can lay hold of her shall have the chinks.
Is she a Capulet? Oh, dear account, my life is my foe's dead.
Away, begone, the sport is at its best.
Aye, so I fear, the more is my unrest.
Nay, gentlemen, prepare not to be gone. We have a trifling foolish banquet towards. What? Is it even so? Oh, why then, I thank you all. I thank you, honest gentlemen. Good night. More torches here. Come on then, let's to bed. Ah, sirrah, by my faith, it waxes late. I'll to my rest.
Everyone leaves apart from Juliet and the nurse.
Come hither, nurse. What is yond gentleman?
The son and heir of old Tiberio.
What's he that now is going out of door?
Marry, that, I think, be young Petruchio.
What's he that follows there that would not dance?
I know not.
Go ask his name. If he be married, my grave is like to be my wedding bed.
His name is Romeo, and a Montague, the only son of your great enemy.
My only love sprung from my only hate, too early seen unknown and known too late. Prodigious birth of love it is to me that I must love a loathed enemy.
What's this? What's this?
My land even of my land of one I danced with all.
Anon, anon, come let's away, the strangers are all gone.
And they go off. The chorus now enters.
Now, old desire doth in his deathbed lie, and young affection gapes to be his heir. That fair for which love grown for and would die with tender Juliet matched is now not fair. Now Romeo is beloved and loves again, alike bewitched by the charm of looks. But to his foe supposed he must complain, and she still loves sweet bait from fearful hooks. Being held a foe, he may not have access to breathe such vows as lovers used to swear. And she is much in love, her means much less to meet her new beloved anywhere. But passion lends them power. Time means to meet tempering extremities with extreme sweet.
A lane by the wall of Capulet's house. Enter Romeo.
Can I go forward when my heart is here? Turn back, dull earth, and find thy centre out.
He climbs the wall and leaps down within the garden. Benvolio.
My cousin Romeo.
Mercutio enters.
He is wise, and on my lie has stolen him home to bed.
He ran this way and leapt this orchard wall. Call, good Mercutio.
Nay, I'll conjure too. Romeo, humours, madman, passion, lover. Appear thou in the likeness of a sigh, speak but one rhyme, and I'm satisfied. Cry but I me, pronounce but love and dove. He heareth not, he stirreth not, he moveth not. The ape is dead, and I must conjure him. I conjure thee by Rosaline's bright eyes, by her high forehead and her scarlet lip, by her fine foot, straight leg, and quivering thigh, and the domains that there adjacent lie, that in thy likeness thou appear to us.
And if he hear thee, thou wilt anger him.
This cannot anger him. 'Twould anger him to raise a spirit in his mistress' circle of some strange nature, letting it there stand till she had laid it and conjured it down. Yeah, that were some spite. My invocation is fair and honest, and in his mistress's name I conjure only but to raise up him.
Come, he hath hid himself among these trees to be consorted with the humorous night, blind as his love and best befits the dark.
If love be blind, love cannot hit the mark. Now will he sit under a medlar tree and wish his mistress where that kind of fruit as maids call medlars when they laugh alone. Ooh. Oh, Romeo, that she were. Oh, that she were, and oh, etc. And thou a popper in pair. Romeo, good night. I'll to my truckle bed. This field bed is too cold for me to sleep. Come, shall we go?
Go then, for 'tis in vain to seek him here that means not to be found.
Meanwhile, in the Capulets' orchard, Romeo has been listening.
He jests at scars that never felt a wound.
Juliet appears above at a window.
But soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, art far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she is envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and green, and none but fools do wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady. It is my love. Oh, that she knew that she were. She speaks, yet says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses, I will answer it. I am too bold, 'tis not to me she speaks. Two of the fairest stars in all the heavens, having some business, do entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till they return. What if her eyes were there, they in her head? The brightness of her cheek would shame those stars, as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven would through the airy region stream so bright, that birds would sing and think it were not night. See how she leans that cheek upon her hand. Oh, that I were a glove upon that hand, that I might touch that cheek.
Ay me.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel, for thou art as glorious to this night, being o'er my head as a winged messenger of heaven, unto the white upturned wandering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name. Or if thou wilt not, be but sworn, my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak at this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love, and I'll be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus bescreened in night so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo, and a Montague?
Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings did I o'erperch these walls, for stony limits cannot hold love out. And what love can do that dares love attempt, therefore thy kinsmen are no let to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
Alack, there lies more peril in thine eyes than 20 of their swords. Look thou but, sweet, and I am proof against their enmity.
I would not for the world they saw thee here.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight. And but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than death prorogued, wanting of thy love.
By whose direction foundst thou out this place?
Thy love, who first did prompt me to inquire. He lent me counsel, and I lent him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as that vast shore washed with the farthest sea, I would adventure for such merchandise.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face. Else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke. But farewell compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayst prove false. At lovers' perjuries, they say Jove laughs. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou thinkst I am too quickly one, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo, but else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayst think my haviour light. But trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardst ere I was ware my true love's passion. Therefore pardon me, and not impute this yielding to light love, which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear, that tips with silver all these fruit tree tops.
Oh, swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon that monthly changes in her circled orb. lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all, or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the god of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
If my heart's dear love.
Well, do not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning, which doth cease to be ere one can say it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love, by summer's ripening breath, may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night, good night. As sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purposes, love?
But to be frank, and give it thee again. And yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite.
Juliet!
I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little. I will come again.
Oh, blessed, blessed night. I am afeard, being in night, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honourable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite. And all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world.
Madam!
I come anon, but if thou meanst not well, I do beseech thee.
Madam!
By and by I come. To cease thy suit and leave me to my grief. Tomorrow will I send.
So thrive my soul.
1,000 times good night.
1,000 times the worse. To want the light. Love goes towards love as schoolboys from their books, but love from love towards school with heavy looks.
Starts to go off.
Romeo, hist! Oh, for a falconer's voice to lure this tassel gentle back again.
It is my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sound lovers' tongues by night, like softest music attending ears.
Romeo?
My dear.
At what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
At the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 years till then. I have forgot why I did call thee back.
Let me stand here till thou remember it.
I shall forget to have thee still stand there, remembering how I love thy company.
And I'll still stay, to have thee still forgetting any other home but this.
'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird, who lets it hop a little from her hand, and like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with a silk thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty.
I would I were thy bird.
Sweet, so would I. Yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sleep dwell upon thine eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep and peace, so sweet to rest. Hence will I to my ghostly father's cell, his help to crave, and my dear hap.
We now go to Friar Lawrence's cell. It's very early in the morning, and he's been up collecting herbs.
The grey-eyed moon smiles on the frowning night, checkering the eastern clouds with streaks of light, and flecked darkness like a drunkard reels from forth day's path and Titan's fiery wheels. Now, ere the sun advance his burning eye, the day to cheer and night's dank dew to dry, I must upfill this azure cage of ours with baleful weeds and precious juicy flowers.
Good morrow, father.
Benedicite, What early tongue so sweet saluteth me? Young son, it argues a distempered head so soon to bid good morrow to thy bed. Care keeps his watch in every old man's eye, and where care lodges, sleep will never lie. But where unbruised youth with unstuffed brain doth couch his limbs, their golden sleep doth reign. Therefore thy earliness doth me assure thou art uproused by some distemperature, or if not so, then here I hit it right. Our Romeo hath not been in bed tonight.
That last is true. The sweeter was my rest.
God pardon sin. Was thou with Rosaline?
With Rosaline, my ghostly father, no. I have forgot that name, and that name's woe.
That, my good son, but where hast thou been then?
I'll tell thee, ere thou ask it me again. I have been feasting with mine enemy, whereon a sudden one hath wounded me, that's by me wounded. Both our remedies within thy help and holy physic lie. I bear no hatred, blessed man, for lo, my intercession likewise steads my foe.
Be plain, good son, and homely in thy drift. Riddling confession finds but riddling shrift.
No, plainly, my heart's dear love is set on the fair daughter of rich Capulet. As mine on hers, so hers is set on mine, and all combined, save what thou must combine with holy marriage. When and where and how we met, we wooed and made exchange of vow. I'll tell thee as we pass, but this I pray, that thou consent to marry us today.
Holy St. Francis, what a change is here! Is Rosaline, whom thou didst love so dear, so soon forsaken? Young men's love then lies not truly in their hearts, but in their eyes. Jesu Maria! What a deal of brine hath washed thy sallow cheeks for Rosaline! Lo, here upon thy cheek the stain doth sit of an old tear that is not washed off yet. If e'er thou wast thyself and these woes thine, thou and these woes were all for Rosaline, and art thou changed? Pronounce this sentence then. Women may fall when there's no strength in men.
Thou chidest me oft for loving Rosaline.
The doting, not for loving, pupil mine.
And badst me bury love.
Not in her grave, to lay one in, the other out to have.
I pray thee, chide not. She whom I love now doth grace for grace and love for love allow. The other did not so.
Oh, she knew well thy love did read by rote and could not spell. But come, young waverer, come, go with me. In one respect I'll thy assistant be. For this alliance may so happy prove to turn your household's rancour to pure love.
Oh, let us hence. I stand on sudden haste.
Wisely and slow they stumble that run fast.
The scene now moves to a street in Verona. It's early in the morning, the night after the night before, the day after the night before, enter Benvolio and Mercutio.
Where the devil should this Romeo be? Came he not home tonight?
Not to his father's. I spoke with his man.
Ah, that same pale-hearted wench, that Rosaline, torments him so that he will sure run mad.
Tybalt, the kinsman of old Capulet, had sent a letter to his father's house.
A challenge in my life.
Romeo will answer it.
Any man that can write may answer a letter.
Nay, he will answer the letter's master, how he dares being dared.
Alas, poor Romeo, he is already dead, stabbed with a white wench's black eye, shot through the ear with a love song, the very pin of his heart cleft with the blind bowboy's butt shaft. And is he a man to encounter Tybalt?
Why, what is Tybalt?
More than Prince of Cats, I can tell you. Oh, he is the courageous captain of compliments. He fights as you sing prick song, keeps time, distance, and proportion, rests me his minim rest, 1, 2, and the third in your bosom. The very butcher of a silk, button, a duellist, a gentleman of the very first house, of the first and second cause. Ah, the immortal passado, the punto reverso, the high!
Oh, the what?
Oh, the pox, the pox, the pox of such antic, lisping, affecting fantasticos. These new tuners of accents by Jesu, a very good blade, a very tall man, a very good whore. Why is not a lamentable thing, grandsire, that we should be thus afflicted with these strange flies, these fashion mongers, these pardonnemies?
Enter Romeo.
Here comes Romeo. Here comes Romeo.
Without his roe like a dried herring, flesh, flesh, how thou art fishified. Signor Romeo, bonjour. There's a French salutation to your French slop. You gave us the counterfeit fairly last night.
Good morrow to you both. What counterfeit did I give you?
The slip, sir, the slip, can you not conceive?
Pardon, good Mercutio, my business was great, and in such a case as mine, I may strain courtesy.
Well, that's as much as to say such a case as yours constrains a man to bow in the hams.
Meaning to curtsy.
Thou hast most kindly hit it.
A most courteous exposition.
Oh, nay, I am the very pink of courtesy.
Pink for flower.
Right.
Why then is my pump well flowered?
Well said. Now follow me this jest now till thou hast worn out thy pump, that when the single soul of it is worn, the jest may remain after the wearing soul singular.
Oh, single soul jest solely singular for the singleness.
Oh, come between us, good Benvolio, my wits faint.
Switch and spurs, or I'll cry a match.
Why, is not this better now than groaning for love? Now art thou sociable, now art thou Romeo, now art thou what thou art, by art as well as by nature. For this drivelling love is like a great natural that runs lolling up and down, trying to hide his bauble in a hole.
Stop there, stop there.
Stop that thou desirest me to stop in my tail against the hair?
How would else have made a tail large?
Oh, thou art deceived. I would have made it short, for I was come to the whole depth of my tale, and meant indeed to occupy the argument no longer.
Here's goodly girl.
Enters puffing and panting, followed by Peter.
A sail! A sail!
Two, a shirt and a smock.
Peter?
Anon?
My fan, Peter?
Good Peter, to hide her face, for her fan is the fairer face.
Good God, ye good morrow, gentlemen.
Oh, that was hard to get out. God ye good den, fair gentlewoman.
Is it good den?
Well, 'tis no less, I tell you, for the bawdy hand of the dial is now upon the prick of noon.
Out upon you! What man are you?
One, gentlewoman, that God hath made for himself to mar.
By my troth, it is well said, for himself to mar, quotha. Gentlemen, can any of you tell me where I may find the young Romeo?
I can tell you, but young Romeo will be older when you have found him than he was when you sought him. I am the youngest of that name, for fault of the worse.
You say well.
Ah, yea, is the worst well? Very well, took your faith, wisely, wisely.
If you be he, sir, I desire some confidence with you.
He will indict him to some supper.
Oh, aboard, aboard, aboard! So...
What hast thou found?
Oh, no hare, sir, unless a hare, sir, in a Lenten pie that is something stale and hoar ere it be spent. An old hare whore is very good meat in Lent, but a hare that is a whore is too much for a score when it whores ere it be spent. Romeo, will you come to your father's will to dinner thither?
I will follow you.
Oh, farewell, ancient lady. Lady.
Marry farewell. Marry farewell, I pray you, sir. What saucy merchant was this that was so full of his ropery?
A gentleman, nurse, that loves to hear himself talk, and will speak more in a minute than he will stand to in a month.
And speak anything against me, I'll take him down, and I were lustier than he is, and 20 such jacks, and if I cannot, I'll find those that shall. Scurvy knave! I am none of his flirt gills, I am none of his skeins mates. And thou must stand by too, and suffer every knave to use me at his pleasure.
I saw no man use you at his pleasure. If I had, my weapon should quickly have been out, I warrant you. I dare draw as soon as another man if I see occasion in a good quarrel, and the law be on my side.
Now, afore God, I am so vexed that every part about me quivers. Scurvy knave! Pray you, sir, a word. And as I told you, my young lady bade me inquire you out. What she bade me say, I will keep to myself. But first, let me tell ye, if ye should lead her into a fool's paradise, as they say, it were a very gross kind of behaviour, as they say. For the gentlewoman is young, and therefore, if you should deal double with her, truly it were an ill thing to be offered to any gentlewoman, and very weak dealing.
Nurse, commend me to thy lady and mistress. I protest unto thee.
Good heart, and i' faith I will tell her as much. Lord, Lord, she will be a joyful woman.
What wilt thou tell her, nurse? Thou dost not mark me.
I will tell her, sir, that you do protest, which, as I take it, is a gentlemanlike offer.
Bid her devise some means to come to Shrift this afternoon, and there she shall at Friar Lawrence's cell be shrived and married. Here is for thy pains.
Oh, truly, sir, not a penny.
Go to, I say you shall.
This afternoon, sir. Well, she shall be there.
And stay, good nurse, behind the abbey wall. Within this hour my man shall be there with thee, and bring thee cords made like a tackled stair, which to the high-top gallant of my joy must be my convoy in the secret night. Farewell, be trusty, and I'll quit thy pains. Farewell, commend me to thy mistress.
Now God in heaven bless thee. Hark you, sir.
What sayest thou, my dear nurse?
Is your man secret? Did you ne'er hear say, two may keep counsel, putting one away?
I warrant thee, my man's as true as steel.
Well, sir, my mistress is the sweetest lady. Lord, Lord, when 'twas a little prating thing. Oh, there is a nobleman in town, one Paris, that would fain lay knife aboard. But she, good soul, had as life see a toad, a very toad, as see him. I anger her sometimes, and tell her that Paris is the proper man. But I'll warn you, when I say so, she looks as pale as any clout in the versal world.
Commend me to thy lady.
Aye, 1,000 times. Peter?
Anon.
Peter, take my fan and go before, and a pace.
And off they go. And now Juliet is in the orchard waiting for news of Romeo.
The clock struck 9 when I did send the nurse. In half an hour she promised to return. Perchance she cannot meet him. That's not so. Oh, she is lame. Love's heralds should be thoughts which 10 times faster glide than the sun's beams driving back shadows over lowering hills. Therefore do nimble-pinioned doves draw love, and therefore hath the wind-swift Cupid wings. Now is the sun upon the highmost hill of this day's journey, and from 9 till 12 is 3 long hours, yet she is not come. Had she affections and warm youthful blood, she would be as swift in motion as a ball. My words would bandy her to my sweet love, and his to me. But old folks, many feign as they were dead, unwieldy, slow, heavy, and pale as lead. Oh God, she comes!
Enter the nurse.
Oh, honey nurse, what news? Hast thou met with him? Send thy man away.
Peter, stay at the gate.
Now, good sweet nurse. O Lord, why look'st thou sad? Though news be sad, yet tell them merrily. If good, thou shamest the music of sweet news by playing it to me with so sour a face.
Oh, I am a weary. Give me leave a while. Fie, how my bones ache. What a jaunt have I had?
I would thou hadst my bones and I thy news. Nay, come, I pray thee, speak. Good nurse, speak.
Jesu, what haste! Can you not stay a while? Do you not see that I am out of breath?
How art thou out of breath when thou hast breath to say that thou art out of breath? The excuse that thou dost make in this delay is longer than the tale thou dost excuse. Is thy news good or bad? Answer to that. Say either, and I'll stay the circumstance. Let me be satisfied. Is it good or bad?
Well, you have made a simple choice. You know not how to choose a man. Romeo, no, not he, though his face be better than any man's. Yet his leg excels all men's. And for a hand and a foot and a body, though they be not to be talked on, yet they are past compare. He is not the flower of courtesy, but I'll warrant him as gentle as a lamb. Go thy ways, wench. Serve God. What, have you dined at home?
No, but all this did I know before. What says he of our marriage? What of that?
Lord, how my head aches. What a head have I. It beats as it would fall in 20 pieces. My back, oh, t'other side, my back, my back, oh, beshrew your heart for sending me about to catch my death with jaunting up and down. Oh.
In faith, I am sorry that thou art not well. Sweet nurse, tell me, what says my love?
Your love says, like an honest gentleman, and a courteous, and a kind, and a handsome, and I warrant a virtuous. Where is your mother?
Where is my mother? Why, she is within. Where should she be? How oddly thou repliest. Your love says, like an honest gentleman. Where is your mother?
Oh, God's dear lady dear, are you so hot? Marry, come up, I trow. Is this the poultice for my aching bones? Henceforth, do your messages yourself.
Here's such a coil. Come, what says Romeo?
Have you got leave to go to shrift today?
I have.
Then hie you hence to Friar Lawrence' cell. There stays a husband to make you a wife. Now comes the wanton blood up in your cheeks. They'll be scarlet straight at any news. Hie you to church. I must another way, to fetch a ladder, by the which your love must climb a bird's nest soon when it is dark. I am the drudge and toil in your delight, but you shall bear the burden soon at night. Go. I'll to dinner, hie you to the cell.
Hie to high fortune. Honest nurse, farewell.
We're back in Friar Lawrence's cell, where Friar Lawrence and Romeo are talking.
So smile the heavens upon this holy act, that after hours with sorrow chide us not.
Amen. Amen. But come what sorrow can, it cannot countervail the exchange of joy that one short minute gives me in her sight. Do thou but close our hands with holy words, then love devouring death do what he may. It is enough I may call her by her name and call her mine.
These violent delights have violent ends, and in their triumph die like fire and powder, which as they kiss consume. The sweetest honey is loathsome in its own deliciousness, and in the taste confounds the appetite. Therefore love moderately, long love doth so. Too swift arrives as tardy as too slow. Here comes the lady. Oh, so light of foot will ne'er wear out the everlasting flint. A lover may bestride the gossamer that idles in the wanton summer air and yet not fall. So light is vanity.
Good even to my ghostly confessor.
Romeo shall thank thee, daughter, for us both.
As much to him, else is his thanks too much.
Juliet, if the measure of thy joy be heaped like mine, and that thy skill be more to blazon it, then sweeten with thy breath the neighbor air, and let rich music's tongue unfold the imagined happiness that both receive in either by this dear encounter.
Conceit, more rich in matter than in words, brags of his substance, not of ornament. They are but beggars that can count their worth. But my true love is grown to such excess I cannot sum up some of half my wealth.
Come with me, and we will make short work, for by your leaves you shall not stay alone till Holy Church incorporates two in one.
And so off they go to get married. Later in the day, Mercutio and Benvolio are finding it very hot and sticky in Verona, and tempers are fraying.
I pray thee, good Mercutio, let's retire. The day is hot, the Capulets abound, and if we meet, we shall not escape a brawl. For now, these hot days is the mad blood stirring.
Oh, thou art like one of those fellows that when he enters the confines of a tavern, claps me his sword upon the table and says, God send me no need of thee, and by the operation of the second cup draws it on the drawer, when indeed there is no need.
Am I like such a fellow?
Oh, come. Thou art as hot a Jack in thy mood as any in Italy, and as soon moved to be moody, and as soon moody to be moved.
And what two?
Nay, and there were two such, we should have none shortly, for one would kill the other. Thou wilt quarrel with a man that hath a hair more or a hair less in his beard than thou hast. Thou wilt quarrel with a man for cracking nuts, having no other reason but because thou hast hazel eyes. What but I would spy out such a quarrel. Thy head is as full of quarrels as an egg is full of meat, and yet thy head hath been beaten as addle as an egg for quarreling. Thou hast quarrelled with a man for coughing in the street, because he hath wakened thy dog that hath lain asleep in the sun. Didst thou not fall out with a tailor for wearing his new doublet before Easter? Or with another for tying his new shoes with old riband? And yet thou wilt tutor me from quarrelling.
And I was so apt to quarrel as thou art, any man should buy the fee simple of my life for an hour and a quarter.
Oh, the fee simple, oh simple.
By my head, here come the
and the others.
Follow me close, for I will speak to them. Gentlemen, good den, a word with one of you.
But one word with one of us? Couple it with something. Make it a word and a blow.
You shall find me apt enough to that, sir, and you will give me occasion.
Oh, could you not take some occasion without giving?
Mercutio, thou consortest with Romeo.
Consort! What, dost thou make us minstrels? And thou make minstrels of us? Look to hear nothing but discords. Here's my fiddlestick. Here's that shall make you dance. Zoons, consort.
We talk here in the public haunt of men. I withdraw until some private place and reason coldly of your grievances, or else depart. Here all eyes gaze on us.
Men's eyes were meant to look and let them gaze. I will not budge for no man's pleasure, I.
At this point, Romeo enters.
Well, peace be with you, sir. Here comes my man.
I'll be hanged, sir, if he wear your livery. Marry, go before to field, he'll be your follower. Your worship in that sense may call him man.
Romeo, the hate I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain.
Tybalt, the reason that I have to love thee doth much excuse the appertaining rage to such a greeting. Villain am I none, therefore farewell. I see thou knowest me not.
Boy, this shall not excuse the injuries thou hast done to me. Therefore turn and draw.
I do protest I never injured thee, but love thee better than thou canst devise, till thou shalt know the reason of my love, and so, good Capulet, which name I tender as dearly as my own, be satisfied.
Oh, calm, dishonourable, vile submission. Alistair Carter carries it away.
Mercutio draws his sword.
Catcher, will you walk?
What wouldst thou have with me?
Good king of cats, nothing but one of your 9 lives, that I mean to make bold withal. And as you shall use me hereafter, dry beat the rest of the 8. Will you pluck your sword out of his pitcher by the ears? Make haste, lest mine be about your ears ere it be out.
I am for you.
He draws.
Gentle Mercutio, put thy rapier up.
Come, sir, your passado.
They fight.
Draw, Benvolio, beat down their weapons. Gentlemen, for shame, forbear this outrage. Tybalt, Mercutio the Prince hath expressly forbidden bandying in Verona streets. Hold, Tybalt, good Mercutio.
Tybalt, under Romeo's arm, stabs Mercutio and is pulled off by his henchman.
Oh! I am hurt. Plague of both your houses. I am sped. Is he gone and hath nothing?
What, art thou hurt?
Aye, a scratch, a scratch. Marriage is enough. Where is my page? Go, villain, fetch a surgeon.
Courage, man. The hurt cannot be much.
No, 'tis not so deep as a well, nor so wide as a church door, but 'tis enough, 'twill serve. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. Oh, I'm peppered, I warrant you, for this world. A plague of both your houses. Zoons, a dog, a rat, a mouse, a cat to scratch a man to death, a braggart, a villain that fights by the book of arithmetic. Why the devil came you between us? I was hurt under your arm.
I thought all for the best.
Help me into some house, Benvolio, or I shall faint. A plague of both your houses. They have made worms meat of me. I have it, and soundly too. Your houses!
This gentleman, the prince's near ally, my very friend, hath got his mortal hurt in my behalf. My reputation stained with Tybalt's slander. Tybalt, that an hour hath been my kinsman. Oh, sweet Juliet, thy beauty hath made me effeminate, and in my temper softened valor's steel.
Re-enter Benvolio.
Oh, Romeo! Romeo, brave Mercutio's dead. That gallant spirit hath aspired the clouds, which too untimely here did scorn the earth.
This day's black fate on more days doth depend. This but begins the woe, others must end.
Here comes the furious Tybalt back again.
Alive in triumph, the Mercutio slain. Away to heaven respective lenity, and fire-eyed fury be my conduct now. Now, Tybalt, take the villain back again that thou gavest me, for Mercutio's soul is but a little way above our heads, staying for thine to keep him company. Either thou or I, or both, must go with him.
Thou wretched boy that didst consort him here, shalt with him hence.
This shall determine that.
They fight, and Tybalt falls.
Romeo, away, be gone. The citizens are up, and Tybalt slain. Stand not amazed. The prince will doom thee death. If thou art taken hence, be gone, away.
Oh, I am fortune's fool.
Why dost thou stay?
Exit Romeo. The citizens run on.
Which way ran that he killed Mercutio? Tybalt, that murderer, which way ran he?
There lies that Tybalt.
Up, sir. Go with me. I charge thee in the prince's name. Obey.
The prince enters attended with Montague and Capulet.
Where are the vile beginners of this fray?
Noble prince, I can discover all. The unlikely manage of this fatal brawl. There lies the man, slain by young Romeo, that slew thy kinsman, brave Mercutio.
Tybalt, my cousin, oh, my brother's child. Oh, prince, oh, cousin, husband, oh, the blood is spilt of my dear kinsman. Prince, as thou art true, for blood of ours, shed blood of Montague. Oh, cousin.
Benvolio, who began this bloody fray?
Tybalt here slain, whom Romeo hand did slay. Romeo that spoke him fair, bade him bethink how nice the quarrel was, and erred with all your high displeasure. All this uttered with gentle breath, calm look, knees humbly bowed, could not take truce with the unruly spleen of Tybalt death to peace. But that he tilts with piercing steel at bold Mercutio's breast, who all as hot turns deadly point to point, and with a martial scorn, and one hand beats cold death aside, and with the others sends it back to Tybalt, who dexterity retorts it. Romeo, he cries aloud, "Hold, friends, friends, pardon!" Swifter than his tongue, his agile arm beats down their fatal points, and twixt them rushes underneath whose arms an envious thrust from Tybalt hit the life of stout Mercutio. And then Tybalt fled, but by and by back to Romeo, who had but newly entertained revenge. And to it they go like lightning. For ere I could draw to part them, was stout Tybalt slain. As he did fell, did Romeo turn and fly. This is the truth, or let Benvolio die.
He is a kinsman to the Montague. Affection makes him false. He speaks not true. Some 20 of them fought in this black strife, and all those 20 could but kill one life. I beg for justice, which thou, Prince, must give. Romeo slew Tybalt. Romeo must not live.
Romeo slew him. He slew Mercutio. Who now the price of his dear blood doth owe?
Not Romeo, Prince. He was Mercutio's friend. His fault concludes but what the law should end, the life of Tybalt.
And for that offence, immediately we do exile him hence. I have an interest in your hate proceeding. My blood for your rude brawls doth lie a-bleeding. But I'll amerce you with so strong a fine that you shall all repent the loss of mine. I will be deaf to you pleading and excuses, nor tears, nor prayers shall purchase out abuses. Therefore, use none. Let Romeo hence in haste, else, when he's found, that hour is his last. Bear hence this body, and attend our will. Mercy but murders, pardoning those that kill.
And they go off. At that point, we're going to take an interval. So eat up your picnics, and in the meantime, Tim and I are going to have a chat a little bit about Rainbow, Shakespeare, the plays, and everything. So stretch your legs, and well, we'll be back in a couple of minutes, but we'll have a quarter of an hour's interval. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nick. You've directed many Shakespeare plays, and I'm sure you've directed Romeo and Juliet many times. What for you are the themes of Romeo and Juliet?
Youth and age, hate and love, so many opposites. It is a wonderful story. It's a classical story, but you become so involved with the characters, and you have, and each of the characters, if you like, represents different parts of our human personality. So you've got the nurse who is all earth and, you know, making babies. Juliet, who is inspiring for something higher, discovering the first love of her life. Mercutio, who basically life is a laugh. And in the end, it's that laugh that gets him killed. And he's making jokes right to the end. So for me, people think of it as a big, heavy tragedy, but it's not. It's a play full of light and love and violence and all the things that make a really good, compelling play. And coming back to it now, it's just amazing how fresh it still remains. And each line has that impact that Shakespeare always has to give us an insight into the human condition and our part in it.
Yes, I mean, just staying with the play Romeo and Juliet. Now, Shakespeare creates many interesting characters, and of course, you've already touched on the fact that many of the characters in Romeo and Juliet are facets of the human condition. If there was one character in this play that is most notable, who would that be?
Oh, I mean, Shakespeare balances plays so well. I think perhaps it will be the nurse. I mean, the nurse who, you know, has brought up Juliet from, she's been her wet nurse, and she's a pragmatist. We're going to find out that when they hear that Romeo has been banished, she says to Juliet, well, look, go for the second best. And Juliet then turns against her. She just has so many different aspects, and she also has this wonderful bawdy sense of humor. And she doesn't let other people get a word in edgeways. She's always interrupting them. And although she's a low class figure, yet she actually is high status to just about everyone around her.
Yes, you were saying actually in the rehearsal that we had earlier in the week that we don't necessarily understand banishment. And I think it might be quite interesting for some people who've joined us tonight to understand what that that actually meant at that era.
Well, banishment really meant that you were no longer safe in your own hometown, your own home city. Anyone could arrest you. You could be put to death. Anyone could steal from you. Yes, if you were caught, the authorities would put you to death. So you would be, and so you're actually going out into a world which you don't know, and you've got no means really. It's really almost a death sentence for you, unless you've got friends a faraway city that might harbour you. But basically, it was not a pleasant thing to be.
Moving on, because I touched on the fact that you've directed many Shakespeare plays over the years. How do you approach the directing? I mean, what are you looking to achieve, and what is it that you hope the audience will take away with them?
First, tell the story. That was the whole point about Rainbow Shakespeare right from the very beginning. I was very lucky in the fact that I lived a bus ride away from the Old Vic as a child. And we would very often go up to the Old Vic as young teenagers and stand at the back and watch amazing people like Judi Dench, who is now our patron, and so many, Laurence Olivier and so on, playing Shakespeare. I wanted to get that same thing over for young people. I wanted them to be able to see productions which tell the story and don't put loads of gimmicks on top of them, which actually bore people very often. It may be very trendy and on message, but it doesn't. Shakespeare does it all for you. Shakespeare tells a story. So I think the first thing that I always emphasize to the actors and to me is, am I telling this story as clearly as I can? And it works on a kind of very strange level. I mean, it's a bit spooky, but there's a magic about doing Shakespeare, which isn't just a sentimental term. He actually is working with something which actually enters into the hearts and minds of every member of the audience watching him. And of course, the Globe was built originally as a sacred site. So the actual impact of actors telling the story to the audience had this very deep effect on people. And I think we get some of that effect working up at Highdown. Some people who I didn't know said to me the other day that they were going to really miss it this year because they've been to every production, and that somehow Rainbow Shakespeare had imbued Highdown and Highdown Gardens with the spirit of Shakespeare. But I think that's because we're faithful to the text and the play. And it's just such amazing stuff to work on, and for actors to work on, and for actors to react together. And the language, he builds into the language a whole series of, if you like, magical spells, which you ignore at your peril. But it's only through doing him lots and lots and lots that you know what words are there to be emphasized to get the sense over. And also his sense of humor. People think of Shakespeare very often as heavy, and it's not. It's packed full of wit. And it's to bring the wit out, even in the serious scenes.
I know that you've said that, I mean, I obviously made a point, you directed many Shakespeare plays before, but what is it about Shakespeare's play that have the particular quality that you keep finding something new in them, do you think?
I think it's the wit. I keep on saying the wit. I mean, and you keep on discovering new things. I mean, I directed Midsummer Night's Dream, I think 6 times before I suddenly realized why he was called Bottom, because he turns into an arse. And you know, and I'd done it at university and everything like that. But it's absolutely fun. You keep on coming across new things. You keep on coming across new aspects, new jokes. You can work on him for forever. And you always find new levels to what makes it work, what makes the gags come over, what makes the drama come over. So you never ever get bored because you just go on further and further levels. And then there's the whole, I mean, the really interesting thing with this play, of course, is that you have a series whereby you have Juliet, who is born under the sign of Leo. The nurse's very first line is on Lammas Eve at night. And so basically you think, well, it's just a bit of gossip. No, it's not. It's because she was born under the sign of Leo, which is the sign of the cat. And so you get Tybalt, who's the king of cats. And she's also lined up with the moon. So she's the moon goddess. And that ties in with Romeo. And the word Romeo means wanderer, which was the time of the sun. So you have all these kind of different levels going on. And yet all the time you come back to what makes it a good, exciting story.
Now, there's obviously been adaptations of the language into modern language, to try and make sense to younger people. I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, I know you've touched on it a bit before.
Well, we were doing a Shakespeare workshop in a school to 16-year-olds, and a group of girls came up to one of our actors, and I went and said, "Yeah," they said, "that was bleep, bleep, bleep good." So our actor said, "Oh, thank you very much." And he said, "Yeah, but why were you patronizing us?" And he said, "What do you mean?" "Well, you put it into modern English. Didn't you think we were bright enough to understand Shakespeare English?" And he looked at them and said, "We were speaking in Shakespeare English. And if you do it properly, the audience don't realize you're using an antique language because the things that are built in there, and we help it along with things like mime to explain a word. And again, if there is a line or lines which we don't understand or that we can't put over clearly to the audience, I will be inclined to cut them, because nothing is worse than all saying, "Oh, well, I don't understand it, but it's Shakespeare, so therefore I won't." And the number of people that come up to us at Highdown and say, "I never thought Shakespeare could be understandable and so much fun." And it happens over and over and over again. And that's because we've had a marvelous teams of actors who've actually explored Shakespeare with me and found ways of getting that over.
I know, because obviously for those who are regulars of Highdown Shakespeare, they will have seen a number of the actors this evening, even who've been back into the company numerous times. And of course, I remember the days when, of course, you were directing the Rep at the Connaught, and it was the same company. You could come along and see the same people, but doing different roles, etc. Just moving on, this is the first time, obviously, we've done online Shakespeare. I wonder what your thoughts are about this experience.
I think it's a very powerful medium. Yeah, nothing will actually beat being in a live theatre performance. But I think, as I said at the beginning, it's a totally new experiment. And I think seeing actors close up going through the lines is rather exciting. I mean, if it was a film, you would have a general shot and then a 2-shot and then a close-up. Well, what we have to do is to have close-ups all the time. And you really get, I think you get different insights into the characters, but it's really going to be up to the feedback that we get from the public. And please let us have it about the bits you liked and any suggestions you have.
Yes, in fact, I've just had a comment on the Zoom chat come up saying that we've had some really great feedback tonight, and we welcome the feedback. We want to hear from you because Nick, myself, and the actors, we are very much keen to create a Rainbow Shakespeare community because Shakespeare should be for everybody. Moving on. I'm going to put you on the spot and say, if there is one character from any of Shakespeare's plays that you would like to meet, who would it be and why?
Oh my goodness. That really is a difficult one. I think probably Edgar from King Lear, Odysseus from Troilus and Cressida. I don't know. There are so many, that you actually have. I mean, Shakespeare is a bit like a laboratory of human beings, of all human life, and so therefore he's exploring those people. And one of the really exciting things about tonight is that we've got some people who've come back to join us, like Emily, who played Juliet for us, a long time back, and it's just a joy to actually see her working. And Paul, who's been working in New Zealand for the time, and suddenly they are here. People who have done Rainbow Shakespeare for the last 5, 6, 7 years, and also our new readers. So, but which Shakespeare character? You said, fluffing desperately. I think Rosalind. I think Rosalind is my favourite Shakespeare heroine, and we're going to meet her on Saturday week. Yeah, I think she's a wonderful role model for men and women, actually. Yeah.
Of course, you've mentioned normally Rainbow Shakespeare is up at Highdown Gardens, and for those that don't live in Worthing, it's an area that belonged to an old house, actually is now owned by the council. They're doing work there to improve the gardens, new landscaping in there. Rainbow has been there how many years now, Nick?
1999 was our first year there. Our very first year of Romeo Shakespeare was on the beach under the Lido in '98. I still think some members of the audience died of hypothermia, but many of them came back, and we actually even made a special T-shirt for some of the original audience who came back. So yeah, 1999 was when we moved into Highdown Gardens. Yeah.
And could you just tell us about, for those that aren't familiar, a little bit about the Rainbow Shakespeare Company? I mean, how long is it? I mean, you've just dealt with how long it's been running, and what in normal times would be happening?
Well, in normal times, what would be happening? We would just be doing the Friday night performance of The Tempest this year, and we would have been busy rehearsing during the day for The Merry Wives of Windsor. We very much an ensemble company, and we've done it that way almost from the start. I mean, we just live and breathe Shakespeare for the fortnight of rehearsals and the fortnight of playing. Very often, for most of those years, we actually go up to Glastonbury and do a tryout at Glastonbury Festival with a version of the play, which is a great sort of team building spirit. Yeah. And talking about sort of old hands, I also have someone who used to, one of my closest friends from school, and became a film and television producer, but also played in Romeo and Juliet when we toured to Denmark and Finland and Russia. That's Neil, who is giving us his old Montague tonight, although he looks slightly like something out of The Merchant of Venice. But it's building a company, you know, it's building a company that enjoys playing off each other, because I always say it's like a relationship. A relationship is always more or less than the sum of its parts. And a good theatre company is either more or less than the sum of its actors.
I've been involved with Shakespeare and helping out for a number of years now. Does Rainbow receive any Arts Council funding at all? How does it? How is it function financially?
No, it functions purely on the dedication of the actors and the company and the audiences who come along. There is no Arts Council funding for a company like ours, and there is no council funding either. So we have to make all our money ourselves. And obviously everyone knows prices are going up, which is one of the reasons why we're inviting people, if they would like to send some GoFundMe money, which will all go towards next year's production. And you can find the page on our website, or it's gf.me/u/x8ff4v. But you can go to Rainbow-Theatre website and find that. But no, if we suddenly had a wet fortnight and no one came, I don't know. Well, we would be finished because everything that comes in at the box office we share with the actors. We all are the same. You're muted, Tim. Muted.
Right. It was Rainbow Shakespeare is a registered charity as well, so there is a team of trustees that manage the charity. I think our time for the interval is nearly up, but could you just say a few words about tomorrow's production? Thank you.
Well, tomorrow's production is Much Ado About Nothing. I love the comedies, and we're very lucky in having Ross and Lexi, who are coming back to reprise their roles as Beatrice and Benedict, that wonderful couple who love to hate one another or hate to love one another. And it's just a wonderful, piece of banter between the two of them. And again, a great story with a nice villain behind it. The comedy, we've got Simon Pennicote, who many of you will remember from his comic roles, is coming back to play Dogberry. So it's again, it's a lovely play. It's again a play about redemption. It's a play about how gullible people can be fooled, and it could easily have turned into a tragedy. I mean, apparently, hero dying or apparently dying. The barrier between comedy and tragedy is very narrow. It's just like Pyramus and Thisbe in Midsummer Night's Dream. I mean, it's just basically a tragic story. It's almost Romeo and Juliet, but we roar with laughter at it. So hopefully, Much Ado is enjoyable. It's funny. It's knockabout, and there's a good villain.
Thank you very much, Nick. I think we are almost out of time from the interval, so I hope that our audience is now back and ready for the second half. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. Romeo and Juliet, Part 2. The scene is Capulet's orchard, and there a very excited Juliet is waiting for news of Romeo.
Gallop apace, you fiery-footed steeds, towards Phoebus' lodging. Such a wagoner as Phaethon would whip you to the west and bringing cloudy night immediately. Spread thy close curtain, love-performing night, that runaways' eyes may wink, and Romeo leap to these arms, untalked of and unseen. Lovers can see to do their amorous rites by their own beauties, or if love be blind, it best agrees with night. Come, civil knight, thou sober-suited matron all in black, and learn me how to lose a winning match, played for a pair of stainless maidenhoods. Hood my unmanned blood, bating in my cheeks with thy black mantle, till strange love, grown bold, think true love acted simple modesty. Come, knight, come, Romeo, Come, thou day and night, for thou wilt lie upon the wings of night, whiter than new snow on a raven's back. Come, gentle night, come, loving, black-browed night, give me my Romeo, and when he shall die, take him and cut him out in little stars, that he will make the face of heaven so fine that all the world will be in love with night and pay no worship to the garish sun. Oh, I have bought the mansion of a love, but not possessed it, and though I am sold, not yet enjoyed. So tedious is this day, as is the night before some festival to an impatient child that hath new robes and may not wear them. Oh, here comes my nurse, and she brings news, and every tongue that speaks but Romeo's name speaks heavenly eloquence.
The nurse enters with a rope ladder.
Now, nurse, what news? What hast thou there? The cords that Romeo bid thee fetch?
Aye, the cords.
By me, what news? Why dost thou wring thy hands?
Ah, well a day. He's dead. He's dead. He's dead. We are undone, lady. We are undone. Alack the day. He's gone. He's killed. He's dead.
Can heaven be so envious?
Romeo can. No, heaven cannot. Oh, Romeo. Romeo, whoever would have thought it? Romeo.
What devil art thou that dost torment me thus? This torture should be wrought in this dismal hell. Hath Romeo slain himself? Say thou but I, and that fair foul eye shall poison more than the death-darting eye of cockatrice. I am not I, if there be such an eye, or those eyes shut that make thee answer I. If you be slain, say I, or if not, no. Brief sounds determine of my weal or woe.
I saw the wound. I saw it with mine eyes. God save the mark. Here, on his manly breast, a piteous corpse, a bloody, piteous corpse, pale, pale as ashes, all bedaubed in blood, all in gore blood. I swooned at the sight.
Oh, break my heart. Poor bankrupt, break at once. To prison eyes, ne'er look on liberty. Vile earth to earth resign, end motion here, and thou and Romeo press one heavy bier.
Oh, Tybalt, Tybalt, the best friend I had. Oh, courteous Tybalt, honest gentleman, that ever I should live to see thee dead.
What storm is this that blows so contrary? Is Romeo slaughtered, and is Tybalt dead? My dear loved cousin and my dearer lord. Then, dreadful trumpet, sound the general doom, for who is living if those two are gone?
Tybalt is gone, and Romeo banished. Romeo that killed him, he is banished.
Oh God! Did Romeo's hand shed Tybalt's blood?
It did, alas the day, it did.
Oh, serpent heart, hid with a flowering face, did ever dragon keep so fair a cave? Beautiful tyrant, fiend angelical, dove-feathered raven, wolvish ravening lamb, despised substance of divinest show, just opposite to what thou justly seemst, a damned saint, an honourable villain. Oh, that deceit should dwell in such a gorgeous palace.
There's no trust, no faith, no honesty in men, all perjured, all forsworn, all naught, all dissemblers. Oh, where's my man? Give me some aquavitae. These griefs, these woes, these sorrows make me old. Shame come to Romeo.
Blistered be thy tongue for such a wish. He was not born to shame. Upon his brow shame is ashamed to sit. For 'tis a throne where honour may be crowned sole monarch of the universal earth. Oh, what a beast was I to chide at him!
Will you speak well of him that killed your cousin?
Shall I speak ill of him that is my husband? Oh, poor my lord, what tongue shall smooth thy name when I, thy 3 hours wife, have mangled it? But wherefore, villain, didst thou kill my cousin? That villain cousin would have killed my husband. My husband lives, that Tybalt would have slain, and Tybalt's dead, that would have slain my husband. All this is comfort. Wherefore weep I then? Some word there was, worser than Tybalt's death, that murdered me. I would forget it fain, but oh, it presses to my memory like damned guilty deeds to sinners' minds. Tybalt is dead, and Romeo banished. That banished, that one word banished hath slain 10,000 Tybalts. Romeo is banished. To speak that word is father, mother, Tybalt, Romeo, Juliet, all slain, all dead. Romeo is banished. There is no end, no limit, measure, bound in that word's death. No words can that woe sound. Where is my father and my mother, nurse?
Weeping and wailing over Tybalt's corpse. Will you go to them? I will bring you thither.
Wash they his wounds with tears. Mine shall be spent when theirs are dry for Romeo's banishment. Take up those cords. Poor ropes, you are beguiled, both you and I, for Romeo is exiled. He made you for a highway to my bed, but I, a maid, die maid and widowed. Come, cords, come, nurse, I'll to my wedding bed, and death, not Romeo, take my maiden head.
Hie you to your chamber. I'll find Romeo to comfort you. I wot well where he is. Hark ye, your Romeo will be here at night. I'll to him. He is hid at Lawrence cell.
Oh, find him. Give this ring to my true knight and bid him come to take his last farewell.
Romeo, come forth, thou fearful man. Affliction is enamoured of thy parts, and thou art wedded to calamity.
Father, what news? What is the prince's doom? What sorrow craves acquaintance at my hand? This I yet know not.
Too familiar is my dear son with such sour company. I bring tidings of the prince's doom.
What less than doomsday is the prince's doom?
A gentler judgment vanished from his lips, not body's death, but body's banishment.
Banishment? Be merciful, say death. For exile hath far more terror in his look, much more than death. Do not say banishment.
Hence from Verona art thou banished. Be patient, for the world is broad and wide.
There is no world without Verona walls, but purgatory, torture, hell itself. Hence banished is banished from the world, and world's exile is death. Then banished, his death mistermed, calling death banishment. Thou cuttest off my head with a golden axe and smilest upon the stroke that murders me.
O deadly sin, O rude unthankfulness, thy fault our law calls death. But the kind prince, taking thy part, hath thrust aside the law and turned that black word death to banishment. This is dear mercy, and thou seest it not.
'Tis torture, and not mercy. Heaven is here where Juliet lives, and every cat and dog and little mouse, every unworthy thing, live here in heaven and may look on her. But Romeo may not. More validity, more honourable state, more courtship lives in carrion flies than Romeo. They may seize on the white wonder of dear Juliet's hand and steal a mortal blessing from her lips, who even in pure and vestal modesty still blush as thinking their own kiss is sin. But Romeo may not. He is banished. Flies may do this, but from this must I fly. They are free men, but I am banished. And sayest thou yet that exile is not death? Hast thou no poison mixed? No sharp ground knife, no sudden mean of death, though never so mean, but banished to kill me, banished! Friar, the damnedest use that word in hell, howlings attend it. How hast thou the heart, being a divine, a ghostly confessor, a sin absolver, and my friend professed, to mangle me with that word banished?
Thou fond madman, hear me but speak a word.
Oh, thou wilt speak again of banishment.
I'll give thee armour to keep off that word, adversity's sweet milk, philosophy, to comfort thee though thou art banished.
Yet banished! Hang up philosophy, unless philosophy can make a Juliet displant a town, reverse a prince's doom. It helps not, it prevails not. Talk no more.
Oh, then I see that madmen have no ears.
How should they, when that wise men have no eyes?
Let me dispute of thee of thy estate.
Thou canst not speak of that thou dost not feel. Wert thou as young as I, Juliet, thy love, an hour but married, Tybalt murdered, doting like me, and like me banished, then mightst thou speak, then mightst thou tear thy hair and fall upon the ground as I do now, taking the measure of an unmade grave.
Arise, one knocks. Good Romeo, hide thyself.
Not I, unless the breath of heart-sick groans mist-like enfold me from the search of eyes.
Hark, how they knock! Who's there? Romeo, arise, thou wilt be taken. Stay a while, stand up. Run to my study. By and by God's will, what simpleness is this? I come. Not so hard. Whence come you? What's your will?
Let me come in, and you shall know my errand. I come from Lady Juliet.
Welcome, then.
Oh, holy friar. Oh, tell me, holy friar, where is my lady's lord? Where's Romeo?
There, on the ground, with his own tears made drunk.
Oh, he is even in my mistress' case, just in her case. Oh, woeful sympathy, piteous predicament. Even so lies she, blubbering and weeping, weeping and blubbering. Stand up, stand up. Stand, and you be a man, for Juliet's sake. For her sake, rise and stand. Why should you fall into so deep an O?
Nurse.
Ah, sir. Ah, sir. Well, death's the end of all.
Speakest thou of Juliet? How is't with her? Doth she not think me an old murderer? Now I have stained the childhood of our joy, with blood removed but little from her own. Where is she, and how doth she, and what says my concealed lady to our cancelled love?
Oh, she says nothing, sir, but weeps and weeps, and now falls on her bed, and then starts up, and Tybalt calls, and then on Romeo cries, and then down falls again.
As if that name shot from the deadly level of a gun did murder her, as that name's cursed hand murdered her kinsman. Oh, tell me, friar, tell me, in what vile part of this anatomy doth my name lodge? Tell me, that I may sack thy hateful mansion.
Hold thy desperate hand. Art thou a man? Thy form cries out thou art, thy tears are womanish, thy wild acts denote the unreasonable fury of a beast. Thou hast amazed me by my holy order. I thought thy disposition better tempered. Hast thou slain Tybalt? Wilt thou slay thyself, and slay thy lady too that lives in thee by doing damned hate upon thyself? Why wailst thou on thy birth, the heaven and earth, since birth and heaven and earth all three do meet in thee at once, which thou at once wouldst lose? Fie! Fie, thou shamest thy shape, thy love, thy wit. Rouse thee, man, thy Juliet is alive, for whose dear sake thou wast but lately dead. There art thou happy. Tybalt would kill thee, but thou slewest Tybalt, there art thou happy too. The law that threatened death becomes thy friend and turns it to exile. There art thou happy. A pack of blessings light upon thy back. Happiness courts thee in her best array, but like a misbehaved and sullen wench, thou pounced upon thy fortune and thy love. Take heed for such thy miserable. Go, get thee to thy love as was decreed, ascend her chamber hence and comfort her. But look thou stay not till the watch be set, for then thou canst not pass to Mantua, where thou shalt live till we can find a time to blaze your marriage, reconcile your friends, beg pardon of the prince, and call thee back with 20,000 times more joy than thou wentst forth in lamentation. Go before us, commend me to thy lady, and bid her hasten all the house to bed, which heavy sorrow makes them apt unto. Romeo is coming.
Oh, Lord, I could have stayed here all the night to hear good counsel. Oh, what learning is! My lord, I'll tell my lady you will come.
Do so, and bid my sweet prepare to chide.
Here, sir, a ring she bid me gives you, sir. Hie you, make haste, for it grows very late.
How well my comfort is revived by this.
Go hence, good night, and here stands all your state. Either be gone before the watch be set, or by the break of day disguised from hence. Sojourn in Mantua. I'll find out your man, and he shall signify from time to time every good hap to you that chances here. Give me thy hand. 'Tis late. Farewell. Good night.
But that a joy, past joy, calls out on me. It were a grief so brief to part with thee. Farewell.
We now go to a room in Capulet's house. Enter Capulet, Lady Capulet, and Paris.
Things have fallen out, sir, so unluckily that we have had no time to move our daughter. Look you, she loved her kinsman Tybalt dearly, and so did I. Well, we were born to die. It is very late. She'll not come down tonight. I promise you, but for your company, I would have been abed an hour ago.
These times of woe I've heard no times to woo. Madam, good night. Commend me to your daughter.
I will, and know her mind early tomorrow. Tonight she is mewed up to her heaviness.
Sir Paris, I will make a desperate tender of my child's love. I think she will be ruled in all respects by me, nay more, I doubt it not. Wife, go you, ere you go to bed, acquaint her here of my son Paris' love, and bid her mark you me on Wednesday next. Oh, but soft, what day is this?
Monday, my lord.
Monday? Well, Wednesday is too soon. A Thursday let it be. A Thursday, tell her, she shall be married to this noble earl. Will you be ready? Do you like this haste? We'll keep no great ado, a friend or two, for hark you, Tybalt being slain so late, it may be thought we held him carelessly, being our kinsman, if we revel much. Therefore we'll have some half a dozen friends, and there an end. What say you to Thursday?
My lord, I would that Thursday were tomorrow.
Well, get you gone. Thursday be it then. Go you to Juliet ere you go to bed. Prepare her wife against this wedding day. Farewell, my lord. Light to my chamber, ho! Oh, for me it is so very, very late that we may call it early by and by. Good night.
Capulet's orchard. Enter Romeo and Juliet above at a window.
Wilt thou be gone? It is not yet near day. It was the nightingale and not the lark that pierced the fearful hollow of thine ear. Nightly she sings on yon pomegranate tree. Believe me, love, it was the nightingale.
It was the lark, the herald of the morn. No nightingale, look, love, what envious streaks do lace the severing clouds of yonder east. Night's candles are burnt out, and jocund day stands tiptoe on the misty mountain tops. I must be gone and live, or stay and die.
Yon light is not daylight, I know it I. It is some meteor that the sun exhales, to be to thee this night a torch-bearer, and light thee on thy way to Mantua. Therefore stay yet, thou needst not to be gone.
Let me be taken, let me be put to death. I am content, so thou wilt have it so. I'll say yon grey is not the morning's eye, nor that it is not the lark whose notes do beat the vaulty heaven so high above our heads. I have more care to stay than will to go. Come, death, and welcome. Juliet wills it so. How is't, my soul? Let's talk, it is not day.
It is, hie hence, be gone away. It is the lark that sings so out of tune, straining harsh discords and unpleasing sharps. Oh, now be gone, more light and light it grows.
More light and light, more dark and dark our woes.
Adam?
Nurse?
Your lady mother is coming to your chamber. The day is broke, be wary, look about.
Then window, let day in, and let life out.
Farewell, farewell, one kiss and I'll descend.
Art thou gone so? Love, lord, I, husband, friend? I must hear from thee every day in the hour, for in a minute there are many days. Oh, by this count I shall be much in years ere I again behold my Romeo.
Farewell, I will omit no opportunity that may convey my greetings, love. to thee.
Oh, thinkest thou we shall ever meet again?
I doubt it not. And all these woes shall serve for sweet discourses in our time to come.
Oh God, I have an ill divining soul. Methinks I see thee, now thou art below, as one dead in the bottom of a tomb. Either my eyesight fails, or thou look'st pale.
And trust me, love, in my eyes, so do you. Dry sorrow drinks our blood. Adieu, adieu.
Oh, fortune, fortune! All men call thee fickle. If thou art fickle, what dost thou with him that is renowned for faith? Be fickle, fortune, for then I hope thou wilt not keep him long, but send him back.
Oh, daughter, are you up?
Who is it that calls? Is it my lady mother? Is she not down so late, or up so early? What unaccustomed cause procures her hither?
Why, how now, Juliet?
Madam, I am not well.
Evermore weeping for your cousin's death? What, wilt thou wash him from his grave with tears? And if thou couldst not make him live. Therefore have done.
Yet let me weep for such a feeling loss.
So shall you feel the loss, but not the friend which you weep for.
Feeling so the loss cannot choose but ever weep the friend.
Well, girl, thou weepest not so much for his death as that villain lives which slaughtered him.
What villain, madam?
That same villain, Romeo.
Villain and he be many miles asunder. God pardon him. I do with all my heart, and yet no man like ye doth grieve my heart.
That is because the traitor murderer lives.
Aye, madam, from the reach of these my hands, would none but I might venge my cousin's death.
We will have vengeance for it, fear thou not. Then weep no more. I'll send to one in Mantua, where that same banished runagates doth live, shall give him such an unaccustomed dram that he shall soon keep Tybalt's company, and then I hope thou wilt be satisfied.
Indeed, I never shall be satisfied with Romeo till I behold him. Dead is my poor heart for a kinsman vexed. Madam, if you could find out but a man to bear a poison, I would temper it, that Romeo should, upon receipt thereof, soon sleep in quiet. Oh, how my heart abhors to hear him named, and cannot come to him.
Find thou the means, and I'll find such a man. But now I'll tell thee joyful tidings, girl.
And joy comes well in such a needy time. What are they, I beseech your ladyship?
Well, thou hast a careful father, child, one who, to put thee from thy heaviness, hath sorted out a sudden day of joy that thou expect'st not, nor I looked not for.
Madam, in happy time, what day is that?
Marry, my child, early next Thursday morn, the gallant, young, and noble gentleman, the County Paris, at St. Peter's Church, shall happily make thee there a joyful bride.
Now, by St. Peter's Church and Peter too, he shall not make me there a joyful bride. I wonder at this haste, that I must wed ere he that should be husband comes to woo. I pray you, tell my lord and father, madam, I will not marry yet. And when I do, I swear it shall be Romeo, whom you know I hate rather than Paris. These are news indeed.
Here comes your father. Tell him so yourself, and see how well he will take it at your hands.
Enter Capulet and the nurse.
When the sun sets, the air doth drizzle dew. But for the sunset of my brother's son, it rains downright. How now? A conduit girl? What, still in tears? Evermore showering? How now, wife, have you delivered to her our decree?
Aye, sir, but she will none. She gives you thanks. I would the fool were married to her grave.
Soft, take me with you. Take me with you, wife. How? Will she none? Doth she not give us thanks? Is she not proud? Does she not count her blessed, unworthy as she is, that we have wrought so worthy a gentleman to be her bridegroom?
Not proud you have, but thankful that you have. Proud can I never be of what I hate, but thankful even for hate that is meant love.
How now, chop logic? What is this? Proud, and I thank you, and I thank you not, and yet not proud. Mistress Minion, you, thank me no thankings, nor proud me no prouds, but fettle your fine joints gainst Thursday next to go with Paris to St. Peter's Church, or I will drag thee on a hurdle thither. Out, you green sickness carrion, out, you baggage, you tallow face!
Fie, what are you, mad?
Good father, I beseech you on my knees, hear me with patience but to speak a word.
Hang the young baggage! Disobedient wretch! I tell thee what, get thee to church on Thursday, or never after look me in the face. Speak not, reply not, do not answer me, my fingers itch. Wife, we scarce thought us blessed that God had lent us but this only child, but now I see this one is one too much, and that we have a curse in having her. Out on her, Hilding!
God in heaven bless her. You are to blame, my lord, to rate her so.
And why, my lady Wisdom? Hold your tongue, good Prudence. Smatter with your gossips. Go!
I speak no treason.
Oh, God ye goddamn.
May not one speak?
Peace, you mumbling fool! Utter your gravity or a gossip's bull, for here we need it not.
You are too hot.
God's bread, it makes me mad. Day, night, hour, tide, time, work, play, alone in company. Still my care hath been to have her matched, and having now provided a gentleman of noble parentage, stuffed, as they say, with honourable parts, proportioned as one's thought would wish a man, and then to have a wretched, puling fool, a whining mammet in her fortune's tender to answer, I'm not wed, I cannot love, I'm too young, I pray you pardon me. But as you will not wed, I'll pardon you. Graze where you will, you shall not house with me. Look to it, think on it, I do not use to jest. Thursday is near, lay hand on heart, advise, and you be mine, I'll give you to my friend, and you be not. Hang, beg, starve, die in the streets, for by my soul I'll ne'er acknowledge thee, nor what is mine shall never do thee good. Trust to it, bethink you, I'll not be forsworn.
He exits.
Is there no pity sitting in the clouds that sees into the bottom of my grief? Oh, sweet my mother, cast me not away. Delay this marriage for a month, a week, or if you do not, make the bridal bed in that dim monument where Tybalt lies.
Talk not to me, for I'll not speak a word. Do as thou wilt, for I have done with thee.
Oh God! Oh nurse, how shall this be prevented? My husband is on earth, my faith in heaven. How shall that faith return again to earth unless that husband send it me from heaven by leaving earth? Comfort me, counsel me. Alack, alack that heaven should practice stratagems upon so soft a subject as myself. What sayest thou? Hast thou not a word of joy? Some comfort, nurse?
Faith, here it is. Romeo is banished, and all the world to nothing, that he dares ne'er come back to challenge you. Or if he do, it needs must be by stealth. Then, since the case so stands as now it doth, I think it best you married with the county. Oh, he's a lovely gentleman. Romeo's a dishclout to him. An eagle, madam, hath not so green, so quick, so fair an eye as Paris hath. Beshrew my very heart, I think you are happy in this second match, for it excels your first, or if it did not, your first is dead. For 'twere as good he were as living here and you no use of him.
Speakest thou from thy heart?
And from my soul too, or else beshrew them both.
Amen.
What?
Well, thou hast comforted me marvellous much. Go in, and tell my lady I am gone, having displeased my father to Lawrence' cell, to make confession and to be absolved.
Marry, I will, and this is wisely done.
The nurse goes out.
Ancient damnation! Oh, most wicked fiend! Is it more sin to wish me thus forsworn, or to dispraise my lord with that same tongue which she hath praised with him above compare so many thousand times. Go, counsellor, thou and my bosom henceforth shall be twain. I'll to the friar to know his remedy, if all else myself have power to die.
Friar Lawrence's cell. Friar Lawrence and Paris enter.
On Thursday, so the time is very short.
My father Capulet will have it so, and I am nothing slow to slack his haste.
You say you do not know the lady's mind, and even is the course, I like it not.
Immoderately she weeps for Tybalt's death, and therefore have a little talked of love, for Venus smiles not in the house of tears. Now, sir, her father counts it dangerous that she doth give her sorrow so much sway, and in his wisdom haste our marriage to stop the inundation of her tears, which too much minded by herself alone may be put from her by society. Now do you know the reason of his haste?
I would I knew not why it should be slowed. Look, sir, here comes the lady towards my cell.
Enter Juliet.
Happily met, my lady and my wife.
That may be, sir, when I may be a wife.
That may be, must be, love, on Thursday next.
What must be shall be.
That's a certain text.
Come you to make confession to this father?
To answer that, I should confess to you.
But do not deny to him that you love me.
I will confess to you that I love him.
So will he, I'm sure, that you love me.
If I do so, it will be of more price being spoke behind your back than to your face.
Poor soul, thy face is much abused with tears.
The tears have got small victory by that, for it was bad enough before their spite.
Thou wrongst it more than the tears with that report.
That is no slander, sir, which is the truth, and what I spake it to my face.
Thy face is mine, and thou hast slandered it.
It may be so, for it is not mine own. Are you at leisure, Holy Father, now, or shall I come to you at evening mass?
My leisure serves me, pensive daughter, now. My lord, we must entreat the time alone.
God shield us should disturb devotion. Juliet, on Thursday early will I rose ye. Till then, adieu, and keep this holy kiss.
He exits.
Oh, shut the door, and when thou hast done so, come weep with me. Past hope, past cure, past help.
Juliet, I already know thy grief. It strains me past the compass of my wits. I hear thou must, and nothing may prorogue it, on Thursday next be married to this county.
Tell me not, friar, that thou hearest of this, unless thou tell me how I may prevent it. If in thy wisdom thou canst give no help, do thou but call my resolution wise, and with this knife I'll help it presently. God joined my heart and Romeo's, thou our hands, and ere this hand by thee to Romeo sealed shall be labelled to another deed, or my true heart with treacherous revolt turn to another, this shall slay them both.
Hold, daughter, I do spy a kind of hope, which craves as desperate an execution as that is desperate which we would prevent. If rather than to marry County Paris thou hast the strength of will to slay thyself, then it is likely thou wilt undertake a thing like death to chide away this shame that copest with death himself to scape from it. And if thou darest, I'll give thee remedy.
Oh, bid me leap, rather than marry Paris, from off the battlements of yonder tower. Or shut me nightly in a charnel house, or a cupboard quite with dead men's rattling bones, with reeky shanks and yellow chapless skulls. Or bid me go into a new-made grave and hide me with a dead man in his shroud. Things that, to hear them told, have made me tremble, and I would do it, without fear or doubt, to live an unstained wife to my sweet love.
Hold then, go home, be merry, give consent to marry Paris. Wednesday is tomorrow. Tomorrow night, look that thou lie alone. Let not thy nurse lie with thee in thy chamber. Take thou this vial, being then in bed, and this distilled liquor drink thou off, when presently through all thy veins shall run a cold and drowsy humour, for no pulse shall keep his native progress but surcease. No warmth, no breath shall testify thou livest. The roses in thy lips and cheeks shall fade to paly ashes. Thy eyes' windows fall like death when he shuts up the day of life. Each part, deprived of supple government, shall stiff, stark and cold appear like death. And in this borrowed likeness of shrunk death, thou shalt continue 42 hours, and then awake as from a pleasant sleep. Now, when the bridegroom in the morning comes to rouse thee from thy bed, there art thou dead. Then, as the manner of our country is, in thy best robes uncovered on the bier, thou shalt be borne to that same ancient vault where all the kindred of the Capulets lie. In the meantime, against thou shalt awake, shall Romeo by my letters know our drift, and hither shall he come, and he and I will watch thy waking, and that very night shall Romeo bear thee hence to Mantua, and this shall free thee from this present shame, if no inconstant toy nor womanish fear abate thy valour in the acting it.
Give me, oh, tell me not of fear.
Hold, get you gone. Be strong and prosperous in this resolve. I'll send a friar with speed to Mantua with my letters to thy lord.
Love give me strength, and strength shall help afford. Farewell, dear father.
A hall in Capulet's house. Capulet, Lady Capulet, the nurse, and 2 serving men.
So many guests, invite as here are writ. Sirrah, go hire me 20 cunning cooks. Go, be gone. We shall be much unfurnished for this time. What, is my daughter gone to Friar Lawrence?
Aye, forsooth.
Well, he may chance to do some good on her. A peevish, self-willed harlotry it is.
See where she comes from shrift with merry look.
How now, my headstrong? Where have you been gadding?
Where I have learned me to repent the sin of disobedient opposition to you and your behests, and am enjoined by holy Lawrence to fall prostrate here and beg your pardon. Pardon, I beseech you. Henceforward I am ever ruled by you.
Send for the county. Go tell him of this. I'll have this knot knit up tomorrow morning.
I met the youthful lord at Lawrence cell, and gave him what becomed love I might, not step o'er the bounds of modesty.
Why, I am glad on't. This is well. Stand up. This is as it should be. Let me see the county. Aye, marry, go, I say, and fetch him hither. Now, before God, this reverend holy friar, our whole city is much bound to him.
Nurse, will you go with me into my closet to help me sort such needful ornaments as you think fit to furnish me tomorrow?
No, not till Thursday. There is time enough.
Oh, go, nurse, go with her. We'll to church tomorrow.
We should be short in our provision. 'Tis now near night.
Oh, I will stir about, and all things shall be well. I warrant thee, wife. Go thou to Juliet. Help to deck her up. I'll not to bed tonight. Let me alone. I'll play the housewife for this once. What ho? They are all forth. Well, I will walk myself to County Paris to prepare him up against tomorrow. Oh, my heart is wondrous light since this same wayward girl is so reclaimed.
Juliet's chamber, enter Juliet and the nurse.
Aye, those attires are best. But, gentle nurse, I pray thee, leave me to myself tonight, for I have need of many orisons to move the heavens to smile upon my state, which well thou knowest is cross and full of sin.
Enter Lady Capulet.
What, are you busy, ho? Need you my help?
No, madam, we have culled such necessaries as are behoveful for our state tomorrow, so please you let me now be left alone, and let the nurse this night sit up with you, for I am sure you have your hands full all in this so sudden business.
Good night. Get thee to bed and rest, for thou hast need.
The nurse and Lady Capulet exit.
Farewell. God knows when we shall meet again. I have a faint, cold fear thrills through my veins that almost freezes up the heat of life. I'll call them back again to comfort me. Nurse! What should she do here? My dismal scene I needs must act alone. Come, Vial. What if this mixture do not work at all? Shall I be married then tomorrow morning? No, no, this shall forbid it. Lie thou there. What if it be a poison which the friar subtly hath ministered to have me dead? Lest in this marriage he should be dishonoured because he married me before to Romeo. I fear it is. And yet methinks it should not, for he hath still been tried a holy man. How if, when I'm laid into the tomb, I wake before the time that Romeo come to redeem me? There's a fearful point. Shall I not then be stifled in the vault, where bloody Tybalt, yet but green in earth, lies festering in his shroud, where, as they say, at some hours in the night spirits resort? Alack, alack, is it not like that I, so early waking, what with loathsome smells and shrieks like mandrakes torn out of the earth, that living mortals hearing them run mad? Oh, if I wake, shall I not be distraught, environed with all these hideous fears? And pluck the mangled Tybalt from his shroud, and in this rage, with some great kinsman's bone, as with a club, dash out my desperate brains. Oh, look! Methinks I see my cousin's ghost, seeking out Romeo that did spit his body upon a rapier's point. Stay, Tybalt, stay! Romeo, I come. This do I drink to thee.
Falls upon her bed within the curtains. A hall in Capulet's house, enter Lady Capulet and the nurse.
Hold, take these keys and fetch more spices, nurse.
They call for more dates and quinces in the pastry.
Enter Capulet.
Come, stir, stir, stir. The second cock hath crowed, the curfew bell hath rung, 'tis 3 o'clock. Look to the baked meats, good Angelica. Spare not for the cost.
Go, you cock queen, go. Get you to bed, Faith. You'll be sick tomorrow for this night's watching.
No, not a whit. What, I have watched ere now all night, for lesser cause, and ne'er been sick.
Aye, you have been a mouse hunt in your time, but I will watch you from such watching now.
Lady Capulet and the nurse exit.
A jealous hood, a jealous hood. Oh, now, fellow, what's there? Make haste, make haste. Sirrah, fetch drier logs. Call Peter, he will show thee where they are. Oh, good faith, 'tis day. The county will be here with music straight, for so he said he would. Oh, I hear him near.
Music.
Nurse! Wife! What her? What? Nurse, I say! Ah, there you are. Go waken Juliet. Go and trim her up. I'll go and chat with Paris. Hi, make haste, make haste. The bridegroom, he has come already. Make haste, I say.
Juliet's chamber.
Mistress, what mistress? Juliet, fast I warrant her she. Why, lamb, why, lady, fie, you slug of bed. Why, love, I say, madam, sweetheart, why, bride. What, not a word? You take your pennyworth stow, sleep for a week. For the next night, I warrant, the county Paris hath set up his rest, that you shall rest but little. God forgive me. Marry and amen, how sound she is asleep. I must needs wake her. Madam, madam, madam. Aye, let the county take you in your bed. He'll fright you up if faith, will it not be? What, dressed? And in your clothes, and down again? I must needs wake you, lady. Lady! Lady? Alas, alas, help, help, my lady's dead. Oh, well a day that ever was I born. Some aquavitae. Oh, my lord, my lady!
Enter Lady Capulet.
What noise is here?
Oh, lamentable day.
What's the matter?
Look, look, oh, heavy
Oh me, oh me, my child, my only life. Revive, look her up, or I will die with thee. Help, help, call help.
Capulet enters.
For shame, bring Juliet forth, her lord is come.
She's dead, deceased. She's dead, she's dead, she's dead.
Alack the day, she's dead, she's dead, she's dead.
Huh? Let me see her. Out. Alas, she's cold. Her blood is settled and her joints are stiff. Life and these lips have long been separated. Death lies on her like an untimely frost upon the sweetest flower of all the field.
Oh, lamentable day.
Oh, woeful time.
Death at Antena hence to make me wail ties up my tongue and will not let me speak.
Friar Lawrence enters with Paris and musicians.
Come, is the bride ready to go to church?
Ready to go, but never to return. O son, the night before thy wedding day hath death lain with thy wife. There she lies, flower as she was, deflowered by him.
Have I thought long to see this morning face, and doth it gives me such a sight as this?
Accursed, unhappy, wretched, hateful day, most miserable hour that e'er time saw.
Oh, woeful, woeful day. Most lamentable day. Most woeful day that ever I did behold.
Beguiled, divorced, wronged, spitted and slain. Most detestable death by thee beguiled.
O child, my soul and not my child. Dead art thou. Alack, my child is dead, and with my child my joys are buried.
Peace, ho, for shame! Confusion's cure lies not in these confusions. Heaven and yourself had part in this fair maid. Now heaven hath all. Dry up your tears and stick your rosemary on this fair corse, and as the custom is, in all her best array bear her to church. For though fond nature bids us and lament, yet nature's tears are reason's merriment.
All things that we ordained festival turn from their office to black funeral. Our instruments to melancholy bells, our wedding cheer to a sad burial feast, our solemn hymns to sullen dirges change. Our bridal flowers serve for a buried corse, and all things change them to the contrary.
So go you in, and madam, go with him, and go to Paris, everyone prepare to follow this fair course unto her grave. The heavens do lower upon you for some ill. Move them no more by crossing their high will.
We now go to Mantua, where we meet Romeo.
If I may trust the flattering truth of sleep, my dreams presage some joyful news at hand. My bosom's lord sits lightly in his throne, and all this day an unaccustomed spirit lifts me above the ground with cheerful thoughts. I dreamt my lady came and found me dead. Strange dream that gives a dead man leave to think, and breathed such life with kisses in my lips that I revived and was an emperor. Ah me, how sweet is love itself possessed, when but love's shadows are so rich in joy.
Balthazar enters booted.
News from Verona. How now, Balthazar? Dost not bring me letters from the friar? How doth my lady? Is my father well? How fares Juliet, that I may ask again? For nothing can be ill if she is well.
When she is well, and nothing can be ill. Her body sleeps in Capel's monument, and her immortal part with angels lives. I saw her laid low in her kindred's vault, and presently took post to tell it you. But pardon me for bringing these ill news, since you did leave it on my office, sir.
Is it even so? Then I defy you, stars. Thou knowest my lodging. Get me ink and paper and hire post horses. I will hence tonight.
I do beseech you, sir, have patience. He looks pale and wild, and I do import some misadventure.
Tush, thou art deceived. Leave me and do the thing that I bid thee do. Hast thou no letters to me from the friar?
No, my good lord.
No matter. Get thee gone, and hire those horses. I'll be with thee straight. Well, Juliet, I will lie with thee tonight. Let's see for means. O mischief, thou art swift to enter in the thoughts of desperate men. I do remember an apothecary, and hereabout he dwells, which late I noted in tattered weeds with overwhelming brows, cullings of simples, meagre were his looks. Sharp misery had worn him to the bones, and in his needy shop a tortoise hung, an alligator stuffed, and other skins of ill-shaped fishes, and about his shelves a beggarly account of empty boxes, green earthen pots, bladders, and some musty seeds, remnants of pack thread and old cakes of roses, were thinly scattered to make up a show. Nothing to this pecuniary as to myself I said, and if a man did need a poison now, whose sale is present death in Mantua, here lives the caitiff wretch, would sell it him. Oh, this same thought did but forerun my need, and this same needy man must sell it me. As I remember, this should be the house. Being holiday, the beggar's shop is shut. What ho, apothecary!
Who calls so loud?
Come hither, man. I see that thou art poor. Hold, there is 40 ducats. Let me have a dram of poison, such soon spreading gear as will disperse itself through all my veins, that the life-weary taker may fall dead, and that the trunk may be discharged of breath as violently as hasty powder fired does carry from the fatal cannon's womb.
Yeah, well, such mortal drugs I have. But Mantua's law is death to in the ear that utters them.
Art thou so bare and full of wretchedness and fearst to die? Famine is in thy cheeks, need and oppression starveth in thine eyes. Contempt and beggary hangs about thy back. The world is not thy friend, nor the world's law. The world affords no law to make thee rich. Then be not poor, but break it and take this.
My poverty, but not me will, consents.
I paid thy poverty, not thy will.
Yeah. Put this in any liquid thing you will, and drink it up. And if you have the strength of 20 men, it would dispatch you straight.
There is thy gold. Worst poison to men's souls, doing more murders in this loathsome world than these poor compounds that thou mayst not sell. I sell thee poison, thou hast sold me none. Farewell, buy food and get thyself in flesh. Come, cordial and not poison. Go with me to Juliet's grave, for there must I use thee.
Back in Verona, Friar Lawrence's cell.
Holy Franciscan friar, brother, ho!
This same should be the voice of Friar John. Welcome from Mantua. What's his Romeo? Or if his mind be writ, give me his letter.
Going to find a barefoot brother out, one of our order, to associate me here in the city visiting the sick. And finding him, the searchers of the town, suspecting that we both were in a house where the infectious pestilence did reign, sealed up the doors and would not let us forth, so that my speed to Mantua there was stayed.
Who bare my letter then to Romeo?
I could not send it. Here it is again. Nor get a messenger to bring it thee. So fearful were they of infection.
happy for two. By my brotherhood, the letter was not nice, but full of charge of dear import. When neglecting it may do much danger. Friar John, go hence, get me an iron crowbar and bring it straight unto my cell.
Brother, I'll go and bring it thee.
Now must I to the monument alone. Within 3 hours will fair Juliet wake. She will beshrew me that Romeo had no notice of these accidents, but I will write again to Mantua and keep her at my cell till Romeo come. Poor living corse closed in a dead man's tomb.
A churchyard. Enter Paris and his page, bearing flowers on a torch.
Give me thy torch, boy. Hence, and stand aloof. Yet put it out, for I will not be seen. Under yond yew trees lay thee all along, holding thine ear close to the hollow ground. So shall no foot upon the churchyard thread, being loose and firm with digging up of graves. But thou shalt hear it. Whistle then to me, as signals that thou hearest something approach. Give me those flowers. Do as I bid thee. Go.
I'm almost afraid to stand alone here in the churchyard, yet I will adventure.
Sweet flower, with flowers thy bridal bed I stew. Oh, woo. Thy canopy is dust and stone, which with sweet water nightly I will dew. Wanting that with tears distilled by moans, the obsequies that I for thee will keep nightly shall be strewed by grave and weep. The boy gives me warning. Something doth approach. What cursed foot wanders this way tonight, to cross my obsequies and true love's right? What? With a torch? Muffle me, knight, a while.
He retires, and Romeo and Balthazar with a torch, and Mattock, etc., enter.
Give me that mattock and the wrenching iron. Hold, take this letter. Early in the morning, see that you deliver it, my lord and father. Give me the light, and do not interrupt me in my course. If thou, jealous, doth return to pry in what I further shall intend to do, by heaven I will tear thee joint by joint, and strew this hungry churchyard with thy limbs.
I will be gone, sir, and not trouble you.
So shalt thou show me friendship. Take thou that, live and be prosperous, and farewell, good fellow.
For all this same, I'll hide me hereabout. His looks I fear, and his intents I doubt.
Thou detestable Moor, thou womb of death, gorged with the dearest morsel of the earth. Thus I enforce thy rotten jaws to open, and in despite I'll cram thee with more food.
He opens the tomb.
This is the banished Autumn Montague that murdered my love cousin, with which grief it is supposed that fair creature died. And here it come to do some villainous shame. To the dead bodies I will apprehend him. Stop thy unhallowed toil, vile Montague. Can vengeance be pursued further than death? Condemned villain, I do apprehend thee. Obey and go with me, for thou must die.
I must indeed, and therefore came I hither. Good gentle youth, tempt not a desperate man. Fly hence and leave me. Think upon these gone. Let them affright thee. I beseech thee, youth, put not another sin upon my head by urging me to fury. Oh, be gone, by heaven, I love thee better than myself, that I come armed hither against myself. Stay not and be gone. Live and hereafter say a madman's mercy bade thee run away.
I do defy that conjuration and apprehend thee for a felon here.
Wilt thou provoke me? Then have at thee, boy.
They fight.
Oh Lord, they fight. I will go call watch.
Ah! Oh, I'm slain. Oh, if thy be merciful, open the tomb. Lay me with Juliet.
In faith I will. Let me peruse this face. Mercutio's kinsman, noble county Paris, What said my man when my betrothed soul did not attend him as we rode? I think he told me Paris should have been married to Juliet. Said he not so, or did I dream it so? Or am I mad hearing him talk of Juliet to think it was so? Oh, give me thy hand, one writ with me in sour misfortune's book. I'll bury thee in a triumphant grave. A grave? Oh no, a lantern. Slaughtered youth, for here lies Juliet, and her presence makes this vault a feasting presence full of light. Death, lie thou there, by a dead man interred.
He lays Paris in the tomb.
How oft, when men are at the point of death, have they been merry, which their keepers call a lightning before death. Oh, how may I call this a lightning? Oh, my love, my wife, death hath sucked the honey of thy breath, hath had no power yet upon thy beauty. Thou art not conquered. Beauty's ensign yet in the crimson of thy lips and in thy cheeks, and death's pale flag is not advanced there. Tybalt, liest thou there in that bloody sheet? What more favour can I do thee than with that hand that cut thy youth in twain to sunder his that was thine enemy? Forgive me, cousin. Dear Juliet, why art thou yet so fair? Shall I believe that unsubstantial death is amorous, and that the lean abhorred monster keeps thee here in dark to be his paramour? For fear of that, I will stay with thee, and never from this palace of dim night depart again. Here will I remain with worms that are my chambermaids. Oh, here will I set up my everlasting rest, and shake the yoke of inauspicious stars from this world-wearied flesh. Eyes, look your last. Arms, take your last embrace, and lips, oh, you doors of breath, seal the righteous kiss, a dateless bargain to engrossing death. Come, bitter conduct, come, unsavory guide. Thou desperate pilot, now at once run on the dashing rocks thy seasick, weary bark. Here's to my love. O true apothecary, thy drugs are quick. Thus, with a kiss, I die.
At the other end of the churchyard, Friar Lawrence enters.
St. Francis be my speed! How oft tonight have my old feet stumbled at graves! Alack, alack, what blood is this which stains the stony entrance of this sepulchre? What mean these masterless and gory swords to lie discoloured by this place of peace? Romeo, oh, pale! Who else? What? Paris too, and steeped in blood! Oh, what an unkind hour! Is guilty of this lamentable chance. Oh, the lady stirs.
Oh, comfortable friar, where is my lord? Do you remember well where I should be, and there I am? Where is my Romeo?
I hear some noise. Lady, come from that nest of death, contagion, and unnatural sleep. A greater power than we can contradict hath thwarted our intents. Come, come away. Thy husband in thy bosom there lies dead, and Paris too. Come, I'll dispose of thee among a sisterhood of holy nuns. Stay not to question, for the watch is coming. Come, go, good Juliet. I dare no longer stay.
Go, get thee hence, for I will not away. What's here? A cup closed in my true love's hand. Poison, I see, hath been his timeless end. Oh, churl, drunk all and left no friendly drop to help me after. I will kiss thy lips. Haply some poison yet doth hang on them to make me die with a restorative. Thy lips are warm. Yea, noise? Then I'll be brief. Oh, happy dagger! This is thy sheath. There rust, and let me die.
This is the place there, where the torch doth burn.
The ground is bloody, search about the churchyard. Go, some of you, whoever you find attach. Pitiful sight, here lies the county slain, and Juliet bleeding, warm and newly dead. Go tell the prince, run to the Capulets, raise up the Montagues, some other search. We see the ground whereon these woes do lie, but the true ground of all these piteous woes we cannot without circumstance descry.
Here's Romeo's man. We found him in the churchyard.
Hold him safely till the prince come hither.
And here is a friar that trembles, sighs, and weeps. We took this mattock and his spade from him as he was coming from this churchyard side.
A great suspicion. Stay the friar too. What misadventure?
The prince enters with his attendants.
What misadventure is so early up that calls a person from our morning's rest?
Capulet, Lady Capulet, and others arrive.
What should it be that they so shriek abroad?
The people in the street cry Romeo, some Juliet, and some Paris, and all run with open outcry towards our monument.
What fear is this which startles in our ears?
Sovereign, here lies the County Paris slain, and Romeo dead, and Juliet dead before, warm and newly killed.
Search, seek, and know how this foul murder comes.
And here is a friar, and slaughtered Romeo's man, with instruments upon them fit to open these dead men's tombs.
Oh, heavens. Oh, wife, look how our daughter bleeds. This dagger hath missed 10. For lo, his house is empty on the back of Montague, and it missheathed in my daughter's bosom.
Oh me, this sight of death is as a bell that warns my old age to a sepulchre.
Enter Montague.
Come, Montague, for thou art early up to see thy son and heir more early down. Sir? Well, look, and thou shalt see.
O thou untaught, what manners is in this, to press before thy father to a grave?
Seal up the mouth of outrage for a while, till we can clear these ambiguities and know their spring, their head, their true descent. And then will I be general of your woes and lead you even to death. Meantime, forbear, and let mischance be slave to patience. Bring forth the parties of suspicion.
I am the greatest, able to do least, yet most suspected, as the time and place doth make against me of this direful murder. And here I stand both to impeach and purge, myself condemned and myself excused.
Then say at once what thou dost know in this.
I will be brief. Romeo, there dead, was husband to that Juliet, and she there dead, that Romeo's faithful wife. I married them, and their stolen marriage day was Tybalt's doomsday.
Well, we still have known thee for a holy man. Where's Romeo's man? What can he say in this?
I brought my master news of Juliet's death, and then in post he came from Mantua to this same place, to this same monument. This letter he early bid me give his father, and threatened me with death, going in the vault. I departed not and left him there.
Well, give me the letter. I'd look on it. Where be these enemies? Capulet, Montague, see what a scourge is laid upon your hate, that heaven finds means to kill your joys with love. And I, for winking at your discords too, have lost a brace of kinsmen. All are punished.
Oh, brother Montague, give me thy hand. This is my daughter's jointure. For no more can I demand.
But I can give thee more, for I will raise her statue in pure gold, that while Verona by that name is known, there shall be no figure at such rate be set as that of true and faithful Juliet.
As rich shall Romeo's by his ladies lie, poor sacrifices of our enmity.
A glooming peace this morning with it brings. The sun, for sorrow, will not show its head. Go hence, to have more talk of these sad things. Some shall be pardoned, and some shall be punished. For never was a story of more woe than this of Juliet and her Romeo.
Thank you, everyone, for taking part, and thank you for watching. Tomorrow night, we will be doing Much Ado About Nothing, and we look forward to seeing some of you then. Look for the GoFundMe site, if you would be so kind. But just thank you for taking part in this unique and very special occasion. Good night and sleep well.